And we welcome you to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, joined by Albert Robles over to my left-hand side as we get set for kickoff. Compton College has won the toss, and they have deferred to the second half. So we will start off with East LA receiving. East LA will be going from left to right, Compton College from right to left. The kicker for Compton College coming up in just a moment is going to be Ramon Hogan. And back to receive for East LA will be Price. The kick is away. It's a short one. It's actually an onside kick that dies just in front of a couple of East LA players. It will be recovered by the Huskies, but Compton College trying to get cheeky on the opening kickoff. And all of a sudden, it's great field position for East LA. So we start off with the East LA Huskies taking the field first on offense from the 41-yard line, as Compton is going to march out there with all white uniforms, crimson red as the numerals and lettering. Their helmets are silver. On the other side, your East LA Huskies will be in gray uniforms today with black pants and white numerals and lettering outlined in green. Wesley Blazek will start off at quarterback as he's going to take the snap from the 41. Takes the snap, looks over to his left, immediately finds a receiver on the far side of the field. That's Munguia, and Munguia is going to make the catch. And that's going to be a gain of 1. So we're looking at 2nd down and 9 from the 42-yard line. Compton College entering this one with an 0-2 record. East LA on the other side is now 1-1 after their controlling victory over Orange Coast this last Saturday. Blazek into the gun. He's going to hand it off. It's going to go to Roms, and then Roms will gain 1 yard and make it to the 43-yard line. So Wesley Blazek starting out at quarterback. We're probably going to see Rudy Garcia at one point as well. Justin Watkins will be wide over to the right, along with Brandon Peterson in the slot on the right-hand side. Quickly, an injured player runs off, and Pierre Robinson is going to run in. Robinson leading the East LA Huskies with 74 rushing yards so far this season. Blazek goes back in the gun. He's got Robinson over to his left. He's looking. He's got 4 wide. Takes a look. Goes upfield. Takes it himself. Left-hand side. Moves up to the 46-yard line. And he will make it to just about the 48 or so. That's where a yellow handkerchief hits the field. And we're going to have a flag and see what the call is in just a couple of moments. Cedric Hood was on that far side setting up the block for Wesley Blazek. Might be a hold against Peterson. And it will indeed be a hold coming up here, as the Huskies are going to have to march it back 10 yards. And instead of a 2nd down, or make it a 3rd down and about 2 yards to go, now they're going to be looking at around a 3rd and, oh, we'll say about 18 yards. So 3rd down for the Huskies. They've got to get to the 49-yard line of Compton College. Cedric Hood on the far side of the field. Near side of the field, it will be Brandon Peterson, also joined by Justin Watkins. In the slot is Daniel Munguia. Pierre Robinson in the backfield with Blazek. Blazek looks to his left. He's going to roll to his right. Looking upfield, just going to easily toss it over to Peterson. But Peterson has it go behind him, and it will go off his hand and to the floor. So an incomplete pass forces a 3-and-out on East LA, and they're going to have to punt it away with Juan Rangel going out there. Back to receive for Compton College is going to be Arsiah McCorker. Compton still trying to finish off their substitutions, get different personnel on the field. This is a chance for Compton College to set themselves up with some decent field position. So Rangel's going to get a chance. Compton jumps early, and now a flag's going to run in, as it will be a false start going against East LA. So marching back 5. Ball was initially placed at the 38-yard line, so that's going to bring it over to about the 33. Again, McCorker is back to receive. 0-2 is Compton College after their loss last Saturday, in which they ended up, unfortunately, only getting -5 rushing yards on the day. Rango gets the snap. He'll punt it away. Nice high D kick. McCorker calling for the fair catch, and he will receive it at the 29-yard line. And that's where Compton College and their offense is going to set up here in the first quarter of play. 13:22 left to go in quarter number 1. No score between East LA and Compton College. You are watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles over to my left, technical director, as we watch East LA go on defense for the first time in this one. Here's a chance for Jesse Brew Jesse Brew III to set up his offense. East LA jumps ahead of time, but it will be a false start on the far side of the offense, as it looks like Ramon Hogan is going to be called for the jump ahead of time. No, they're going to call it as offsides against East LA. So now you're looking at a 1st down and 5 to go for Compton College, getting better field position at the 34-yard line. Jesse Brew looking over his offensive options. He's going to hand it off. It's going to go to Benjamin Owsley. Owsley goes off tackle, right-hand side. Finally gets taken down right next to the sideline, right at the 35-yard line. It'll be a gain of 1, which brings up a 2nd down and 4 to go. Compton has to get to the 39-yard line to get themselves a 1st down. Setting up for East LA on the defensive line. Tremaine Savea on that right-hand side. He's also going to be joined out there by Daniel Robledo. Ben Key, one of the starters on the defensive line, which is looking to rush 4 to start this 2nd down and 4. Brew takes a look at the sideline. He's going to get the snap. Looking to hand it off once again, and stacking him up there will be Key, as taking the handoff will be Vincent Whitlock, but Whitlock doesn't go anywhere. Not only does he not go anywhere, Albert, it's going to end up as a loss of 3. So all of a sudden you go from 2nd down and 4 to 3rd down and 7 to go, and Compton is in a hole. Back deep for East LA is Shamar Westone. They're playing single high coverage, as Compton loves to try and set up their rushing attack early on. Jesse Brew goes back into the gun. He's got split backs in the backfield. One of them being Benjamin Owsley. Owsley looking to pick up the rush. It goes over towards the left-hand side for McCorker, who makes the catch at the 40. It's going to go down to the 29-yard line. Huge passing play for Jesse Brew to Isaiah McCorker. And McCorker, the 5'9" freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida, hauls it in at the 40 and gets about 9 extra yards. It's the longest play of Compton's 2019 season, as that's going to march them nearly 40 yards upfield. Big time passing play there for Jesse Brew. So now all of a sudden it's a 1st down and 10 to go from the 31-yard line of East LA. East LA is going to rush 3. Now they bring up a couple of linebackers. They stack the rush as Vincent Whitlock has nowhere to go, as he runs into a wall that includes Emmanuel Carter and Tremaine Savea.
Initially stopped by number 57, Ben Key.
Rob Castaneda on the right-hand side, looking at coverage with Aaron Hill as well. Compton College running a couple of guys onto the field. They're looking for their 1st win in about 2.5 years.
2nd and 11 for Compton.
10:40 left here in the 1st quarter, just underway from Weingart Field, or Weingart Stadium, here at East LA. Here's a pitch that ends up falling onto the turf, and they're going to say it's an incomplete pass as it goes into the hands of McCorker, hits the floor, and it will stay as a second down and about 15, 16 to go. Actually, they're going to move it up to the 32-yard line. So initially, they marked him down at the 38-yard line because the back official thought that it was a fumble recovered by Compton. However, the white hat declared that it was an incomplete pass as the pitch went forward. So because it hits the deck on the forward pass, it's an incomplete pass moving the ball up to the 32-yard line. So Compton avoids having to lose about 7 yards on the play, and they will go out with Jesse Brew, joined by Whitlock over to his left. He's got a receiver in Ramon Hogan over to the wide left side. Here's a pass over to the far side of the field where it goes in and out of the hands of Hannibal Clark. Clark was wide open at the 24-yard line, and it was a big-time chance for him to move upfield and easily get the first down. It goes in and out of his hands, so an incomplete pass is going to bring up, if I'm not mistaken, it should be 4th down and 11. Compton College coaching staff is trying to help out an injured player on the far side of the field, and we're finally going to get an injury timeout. 9:39 to go here in the first quarter. No score between Compton College and East LA. You are watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. So East LA on defense for the first time today gives up about a 42-yard pass from Jesse Brew over to Isaiah McCorker to set up good field position for Compton College. And then all of a sudden, Compton just couldn't get out of their own way on each of the last 3 plays. White hat looks like he's trying to turn on the mic and give direction to the rest of the stadium. Again, 9:39 on the clock here in the first quarter of play. Neither team on the board. Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts as the injured player is able to get off, as it looked like it was Demarius Bates on the far side of the field who was struggling to get off. Now for Compton College, they don't punt very often, only 9 times in their first 2 games. They are very keen on trying to go for it on 4th down. They've got a 4th down and 11 here as Jesse Brew goes into the backfield. He's going to take it from the gun. He's got Whitlock over to his left-hand side in addition to McCorker on his left, and Hogan taking a look downfield, far side. He's going to go for it. Is there pass interference? There is not, and it will be an incomplete pass as he tries to get it over to Hannibal Clark, and turning it over on downs will be Compton College. So the East LA defense holds steady, and they will take over at the 32-yard line, where we'll see Wesley Blazek and company have a chance to move up the field.
ELAC takes over on downs of a 1st and 10. Ball on the 32-yard line.
So Wesley Blazek goes into the backfield. He's got Pierre Robinson over to his right-hand side. Takes the snap, looks at Pierre Robinson, huge hole. He's going to dip and dive his way all the way to the 40-yard line, still on his feet. Finally gets taken down from behind by Bryn Thompson. And he will work his way to the 41-yard line. So some tough gained yards there for Pierre Robinson, and he will continue to add to his stats so far. Robinson had 18 rushes prior to today, 70 yards total, averaging about 35 yards per game. He picks up 8 there. It's a 2nd down and 8 to go. Here's Blazek. Blazek's going to toss it out of bounds on the far side of the field as he was being pressured heavily by Marco Medina.
For number 81, Jonathan Blackman. Just in. Number 89 is the quarterback for Compton, Jesse Brew III. So he'll be wearing 89 in your program. He's listed at number 19.
Wesley Blazek going back into the gun. He's got Hood on the far side of the field. Peterson over to his right. He's also joined there by Daniel Mungia. Handoff is over to Pierre Robinson. Wide open hole. He's only got one guy to beat. He's at the 30, the 25, the 10. A lot of flags are in. That's going to be a hold, so this will be coming back without a doubt. It ends up being a 69-yard rush into the end zone, but we've got two different flags, and I'm going to say that that is a hold on two different locations. As on the far side of the field, Cedric Hood was into the secondary at about the 30-yard line when he ended up holding on just a shade too long. So it is two different holding penalties that will take place, one on the offensive line, one all the way at the 30-yard line. They're going to decline one and accept the second one, so it will be a 10-yard penalty, bringing up what should be a second down and one, actually make it 11 yards to go.
10-yard penalty moves the ball back to the 31-yard line for ELAC.
8:48 and ticking here in quarter number one. Wesley Blazek is going to be joined by Rams in the backfield. Mari Rams, 5'10", 200, out of Monrovia. Now he moves up onto the offensive line. Looking deep is Blazek. Blazek's got a chance for Peterson, who hauls it in at the 45-yard line. Peterson was kind of stumbling, looking for where that football was going to be, but he ends up dragging his right foot and pinning the left one in bounds as well. So that will be a huge gain for East LA and a first down at the 44. Rams in the backfield, Peterson over towards the left. He's going to be joined out there by DeMonte Presley. Right-hand side will be Justin Watkins. They're going to look for Watkins. Watkins goes one-on-one, a stiff arm. He's into the 30. He's got two guys to beat. Finally gets tackled by three different guys for Compton at the 21-yard line. That is going to be a pickup of 23 yards. So a quick toss and catch on the right-hand side. And Blazek wants to hurry it up. He's got Watkins on the right. He's got Robinson in the slot on the left-hand side in addition to Munguia. They go back to Watkins. Watkins breaks the tackle. Watkins with another stiff arm, and he gets down to the 16-yard line this time.
Blazek's pass complete to number 7, Watkins.
And he will be forced out of bounds. So it starts off with East LA going 3 and out on their first series. Compton actually getting some decent yardage. And then all of a sudden, East LA has decided that they are going to march down the field at will. Here's Blazek looking over to his left. He's got a chance with Munguia. Munguia looking for it, and it's going to be incomplete. A flag is tossed in the backfield where Bryn Thompson was looking to haul down Wesley Blazek. We'll see what the call is from the White Hat. No score between these two sides, 7:29 remaining in the first quarter. And it's a personal foul, roughing the passer going against Compton College. So Bryn Thompson makes too much, or gets a little too much contact with the quarterback, Wesley Blazek, after the pass is released, and that's going to be an automatic first down coming up, as it will be at the 9-yard line, as you hear in the background here at Weingart Stadium. Blazek will have Rams over to his right-hand side. In the slot on the right is Voss Price. He's got Watkins as well. On the left is Brian Jones in addition to Cedric Hood. It's going to be handoff to Rams. Rams tries to find a hole. Right-hand side gets hauled down inside the 5-yard line. And they will bring him down at the 4.
Brought down by Compton's number 7, Jalen Smith.
So East LA, big-time chance to get on the board here. It's a second down and goal to go from the 4-yard line. The East LA Huskies taking on Compton College here this afternoon. Compton trying to get a hold here. Here's a chance for East LA to get on the board. Handoff is to Rams. Rams over left tackle. He's not going to be taken down. He's got an open side, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. So touchdown number 1 for East LA College comes with 6:43 left to go in the first quarter of play. And it's Mari Rams who ends up waltzing in. An easy run on the left-hand side. And that comes from just 4 yards out. Once again, With 6:43 left in the first quarter, it's now a 6-0 game. Here's a chance for Juan Rangel to make it 7-0. The snap is there, kind of bounces in. Nice job of corralling it by Blazek, and the kick is up, the kick is good. 7-0 is our score as East LA gets on the board. You are listening to East LA College Football on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles taking in this one on what is a fairly comfortable afternoon here from East LA compared to what the temperatures were 2 weeks ago. And for the East LA offense, they are finding themselves to be quite comfortable as well. After that first series, again, they go 3 and out, and then they march their way downfield, a total of 68 yards into the end zone, capped off by a 4-yard run by Mari Rams. Back deep to receive for Compton will be McCorker, in addition to Hogan. It'll be Juan Rangel to kick it away. Rangel boots it with his left foot. That's going to go over towards the 2-yard line, actually make it into the end zone, as it will have to be picked up and finally kneed by Ramon Hogan. And Hogan does get the knee, so that will bring field positioning up to the 20-yard line for Compton College. Now, see, here's what's weird about that, Albert. That ball was booted into the end zone. However, Hogan thought that it was an automatic touchback. It's not on a kickoff. So if East LA had reached it before he did, that would have been a touchdown. So he realized that ball was still live, goes, picks it up, and knees it. That brings it up to the 20-yard line. The intricacies of football. 7-0 is our score. 6:43 left here in quarter number 1. East LA with the lead. This is going to go to Jesse Brew. Brew over towards his left-hand side where a huge hit is delivered to Ramon Hogan. Hogan bounces off of the initial contact from Carlos Alvarez and still ends up gaining 5 yards. Compton hasn't looked too bad on offense here in this one.
Gain of 5 on the play, second down.
Four wide for Compton. They've got one in the backfield, that being Benjamin Owsley. Jesse Brew, left-handed quarterback, gets the snap. He's going to look over to his left. No one there. And East LA just misses getting a pick as turning around looking for it was Rob Castaneda. It's an incomplete pass, 2nd down and 5 to go from the 30-yard line. Couple of guys switch off for Compton College as it will be Key, joined by Savea on the defensive line. They're just going to rush three different linebackers moving up towards the line of scrimmage for East LA, one of them being Zion Dixon. Dixon rushing into the backfield. Jesse Brew gets taken down by a host of East LA Huskies. And all of a sudden, a flag comes flying in after the play was whistled dead. So you got to think that's in the personal foul realm.
There is a flag after the play.
John Tuitupo ends up getting credited for the sack. Whitehat still looking for what the call is from his umpire. Will it be against Compton? Unsportsmanlike conduct against Compton College, and that will push them back quite a bit. So not only do they lose the 8 yards on the sack, but they also end up losing 10 on the misconduct penalty, or unsportsmanlike conduct. Not misconduct, that'd be hockey. But the unsportsmanlike conduct backs them up 18 yards, where it looks like Compton is going to take a timeout. 5:46 remaining in quarter number 1. It's 7-0 East LA over top of Compton College. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. And we want to remind you that all games here on SportsNetUSA.net are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Maybe you're looking for that new or used vehicle, or maybe it's that student in your family that you want to make sure they get around safely, they get around places in time. Go ahead and check out Miller Toyota of Anaheim. You can check them out online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. They've got a ton of specials, student specials, in addition to military specials as well. Again, you can check them out online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports high school sports, community college sports, but most of all, they support education. Again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim. It's 4th down and quite a bit to go for Compton College, as it looks like they're going to go with a punt. Nearly blocked by East LA, as this one will get away and over and be dropped by the Huskies. Getting back for it was Brian Jones. It goes off of his leg. It will be recovered by the Huskies, as he was kind of crowded in by two of his teammates, one of them being Brandon Peterson. But luckily for Jones, he is able to recover that. At the bottom of the pile there is Aaron Hill as well. So nonetheless, very close call for East LA, as they nearly give the ball right back over to Compton. And we go over to the offense for East LA, another chance to really capitalize on some great field position. That punt only ended up going about 30 yards. As the ball is placed at the 41-yard line, Wesley Blazek will go into the backfield. He's joined by Justin Watkins and Pierre Robinson on his left and right. He's got Peterson in the slot on the right-hand side, also joined by Mungia and Cedric Hood. Into motion goes Robinson. They're going to go over towards the far side of the field, where it will be picked up by DeMonte Presley. He breaks one tackle and drags another guy in, Brim Thompson, all the way to the 20-yard line. So that's going to be a pickup of 21 yards and a first down for East LA. Down the field go the Huskies, as they look to capitalize on the great field position that they were presented at the 41-yard line. Still inside the first quarter between these two sides. It's 7-0 East LA with the lead. Wesley Blazek goes back into the gun. He's got two receivers on his right, one over to his left. Still looking for a chance. He fumbles the football. Finally trying to grab it is East LA, but it will be recovered by the Compton Tartars. The sack and the fumble recovery is there for Christopher Willis. Willis gets the pressure, and he will end up getting the recovery. A huge opportunity for the Compton defense. That is just the third fumble that they have forced all season long. They only have 5 sacks, so you can add one more to that. That is sack number 6. And their 36th tackle for a loss, and everything turns around as the Compton College offense can get back on the field. Wesley Blazek with the fumble. Here's Jesse Brew. He wants it quickly. He's looking over to his left. He's getting pressured heavily. He gets away from pressure. He's at the 40. He's at the 50, and he will actually slide at the 47-yard line, where two different East LA defenders end up running into one another. So Brian Jones is there for East LA. That's going to be a gain of 5 yards. And Compton with a chance from the 47-yard line on second down. Jesse Brew is going to be joined by Benjamin Owsley over to his left. Wide to the left is Arzea McCorker. Far side of the field, he's got Hogan. Snap is made. They go over towards the left, looking for McCorker again. He lays out for it, but can't get to it. A flag comes in from the side of the play, actually from the back official at the 25-yard line. Will that be pass interference? It didn't seem like there was enough contact prior to the pass coming in. And it will be a hold going against the defense. So that will be a 10-yard penalty, And a first down going to Compton College. So you can move it up 10 yards, which is going to bring it to the 44-yard line. Or actually make it the 43-yard line. And a first down for Compton. So Compton's offense hasn't been prolific in each of the last 6 years. In fact, if you combine it, it's around 56 points that they have gotten in their last 4 years combined. They're looking for their first win since 2017. Snap is back, it goes to Brew. Brew launches, but a flag is coming in. And if I'm not mistaken, that should be at the line of scrimmage prior to the play beginning. So it should be a false start, and it is indeed. So -5 yards going the way of Compton College, and it will now be a first down and 15 to go.
Ball be placed on the 48-yard line. Repeat, first down.
So still first down for Compton College. We've got 4 minutes and 4 seconds left here in quarter number 1. Also here on SportsNetUSA.net, we had Golden West College in West LA, as this will be snapped back to Jesse Brew. And it looks like another false start against Compton. Compton coaches are absolutely livid on the far side of the field. So it'll be a first down and 20, as that will back him up as well. So Compton ends up losing the 10 yards that they got on the defensive hold. Now they've got a first down at the 46. Loaded up and locked over towards McCorker, and that will be too far out in front of him. An incomplete pass. So McCorker on that left-hand side has been targeted for a total of 4 plays. He's got 1 reception for about 42 yards. That, of course, being unofficial, just SportsNetUSA.net stats. Ball still at the 47-yard line, where it will be a second down and 20 yards to go for Compton. Another game going on here on SportsNetUSA.net. The Key to the County game. 97th edition of that one between Fullerton College and Santa Ana. It's currently 14-3 Fullerton. Jesse Brew looking for a chance to run. He's right up the middle. He's going to go over towards his right. He gets taken down and moved over to the 45-yard line on the dot. So he ends up gaining 8. A nice run for Jesse Brew, who was not afraid to go into contact there. But he's going to be well short of a first down, to say the least. It's now a third down and 12 to go. Again, this is a Compton team that is very reliant on going for it on 4th down.
Third and 12 for Compton.
McCorker is going to be wide over towards the left-hand side. On the far side is Hannibal Clark. He'll also be joined by Matthew Wells, in addition to Jemai Merchant. Jesse Brew, left-handed QB, tosses it far side of the field, where it overshoots 2 different guys, including the intended target in Merchant, as Brew was absolutely decked as soon as he let that football go. That's going to bring on a 4th down, so Compton College will end up punting it away for the 2nd time in this game. 2:58 left in quarter number 1. Going back to kick it away will be Marco Medina. And back to receive for East LA will be Jonathan Blackman, the 5'9" wide receiver out of Lawndale. And a timeout will be taken by Compton College. So that's the 2nd timeout taken by the Compton coaching staff. And we're still here in the first quarter of play. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. So to recap, we had Compton College, who started off the ball game by forcing East LA to go 3 and out. Then Compton had a nice little drive where they moved up about 56 yards in 6 plays, but they weren't able to do anything with it. They switched the ball over to East LA after a turnover on downs. East LA marches right down the field, 68 yards into the end zone, which was capped off by a Mari Rams touchdown run from 4 yards out. And it became a 7-0 ball game. Now, just when East LA got the football back with excellent field position, all of a sudden, Compton College got a strip sack, and they turned the ball over. Or, excuse me, they got a takeaway, and they forced East LA to turn the ball over. And neither team has been able to really take advantage in this one. East LA a heavy favorite against Compton as this is booted away. A small punt, rather short, as this is going to go on the left-hand side to the 20, yeah, I guess you can make it the 17-yard line. Flag is tossed as well, and we'll see what the call is there. As the white hat goes over to the back judge, and he will figure out what exactly the call will be. Ball is at the 18-yard line of East LA. That ball didn't travel very far in the air, but it got about a 20-yard bounce. It is a hold going against East LA, which will be accepted, so it's a first down and 10 to go from the 8-yard line.
ELAC will take over. First down. Ball is spotted on the 9-yard line.
Wesley Blazek and company run back out there. Daniel Mungia wide to the right, joined by Justin Watkins. Cedric Hood, far side of the field. Going into motion is Peterson. Peterson is going to get it on the end around. He's going to take one look and move upfield. That's actually Brian Jones. Jones is in the clear at the 40, the 50, the 40 once again. He's got speed to burn and open space to run with at the 10-5 touchdown East LA.
Number 5.
So it's a pitch to Brian Jones, who goes into motion at the 8-yard line, and it's a 92-yard rushing touchdown for the East LA Huskies, one of their longest plays in the last 5 years, and East LA is now going to capitalize and make it a 13-0 ball game. 92 yards, and Albert, when you look at that play, I mean, Brian Jones, as soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage, it looked like he had 4 different guys on him. No, then all of a sudden, one cutback, and he's gone. He's in the clear. As that extra point is going to be muffed, Blazek ends up getting tackled, so it will stay at a 13-0 ball game. East LA, once again, Brian Jones with a 92-yard touchdown run, and he makes it 13-0.
We are set for the kickoff.
2:28 left in the first quarter of play. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Brian Jones with electric speed on that one. As East LA is going to get set to kick it away. Back deep to receive is Arcea McCorker, in addition to Matthew Wells. Wells on the near side of the field. For those of you watching online here on SportsNetUSA.net, East LA going from left to right across your computer screen. Compton going from right to left. Big boot from Juan Rango. It's going to go over towards the 6-yard line, picked up by Wells. Wells looking upfield. Wells goes over to the right-hand side. He's got an edge to run to. He's got a chance at the 40-yard line. Finally gets tackled at the 41. An excellent run back from Matthew Wells. He is finally taken down by Justin Watkins. But that's a huge play for Compton as it gives them a chance to work at or near the midfield marker. So ball gets placed at the 41-yard line where Jesse Brew will have to run out and make up a 2-score deficit.
Jesse Brewer, the quarterback, is wearing number 89.
So Jesse Brew goes back into the backfield. He is going to be joined by Whitlock over to his left. McCorker as well on the left-hand side, also joined by Hannibal Clark. Brew looking over to his left, wants McCorker, gets away from contact, finally moves up the field, gets about 6 yards, and it will be a 2nd down and 4 as that ball will be placed at the 47-yard line. Nice job by Brew to have the pocket presence to realize that he was about to get taken down. He steps into the pressure, which gets him away from the defensive line of East LA, and he had some daylight to look at, just enough to get him into positive yardage. All in all, he ends up running about 12 yards on that play, but it finishes as a 6-yard pickup. Left-hand side of the field is McCorker. They're going to switch everybody up. McCorker's going to go far side of the field. So that will mean Hannibal Clark is on this left-hand side, and he's also joined by Matthew Wells and Hogan. East LA jumping, it looked like it was early. That might be one of the latest flags that we have seen here on SportsNetUSA.net, as it looked like East LA's defensive line was in the backfield before the snap was sent away. Joshua Murillo trying to anticipate the snap count on the far side of the field, and it will indeed be offsides or encroachment on the defense for East LA, which will give a 1st down to Compton. So that's a big development for Compton as we take a look at the other game here on SportsNetUSA.net right now. 97th playing of the Key to the County game is 21-3 as they start off the 3rd quarter of play between Fullerton College and Santa Ana. Two teams that, to put it mildly, do not like each other. Back to this one, as this will be a delayed handoff, going right up to the line of scrimmage and not really getting too much more is Benjamin Owsley. Owsley ends up getting picked up by a couple of teammates, or excuse me, that was Whitlock. So it will get him back to the line of scrimmage, where it will be a 2nd down and 10 yards to go as they look at the 38-yard line as the goal to keep this drive alive. Under 30 seconds to play here in quarter number 1, where it's 13-0 in favor of the East LA Huskies. Here on SportsNetUSA.net, clock still ticking. We're down to 15 seconds. Jesse Brew looking at the play clock. He's got 22 there. They're going to wait until the very end of the 1st quarter and get the final play of the quarter. As Jesse Brew still waits. He's got 3 seconds left. And they're going to end up running out the clock here in quarter number 1. So Compton College content to send us into the 2nd quarter of play. After the first 15, it's 13-0 in favor of East LA. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. SportsNetUSA.net, a lot of community college football coming up in the future weeks here. Again, on SportsNetUSA.net, your leader for community college football here in the state of California. Fullerton College, East LA, Golden West, and LA Valley, all hosted here on SportsNetUSA.net. Golden West took on West LA earlier, and now we've got 2 games going on simultaneously. So if you go to SportsNetUSA.net, check out the video page where you can see both East LA and Fullerton College at the Key to the County game at the exact same time. Over at the Key to the County game, and once again, scoring update at the start of the 2nd quarter, it is 21-3 in favor of Fullerton College as they get 21 points in the 1st quarter. Quinn Commons with 2 different touchdown passes, and Cooper Callis with 1 as well. Here in our game between East LA and Compton College, Compton is going to take the ball from the 48-yard line. They've got a 2nd down and 10 to go, where Jesse Brew and company will set up. Brew going back. Sees a lot of space right down the middle of the field. Goes to the far side of the field. Gets a block. He's going to go up to the 44-yard line. Finally get chased out. He gets tackled well beyond the line or the out-of-bounds marker, and he is still down. 2 flags come flying in as that is going to be late contact on behalf of East LA. And I mean, he was a good 8 to 9 yards out of bounds before he gets shoved to the floor. This will be a personal foul going against East LA as the White Hat is getting an explanation. Jesse Bruce still trying to shake off the hit as he was being chased out of bounds by Shamar Westone. Let's go Huskies, the chant in front of us from the East LA crowd. Personal foul going against East LA. It looks like there may have been 2 penalties on the play, as they're going to march off the yardage here in just a moment. So the first one is the personal foul going against East LA for the late hit. And then they're going to tack on 15 more. So Compton College gains 30 yards on a play that was initially just a quarterback scramble. So what they called was, initially it was a late hit on East LA followed by an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Both of them go against the defense, which gives 30 yards to East LA. So they were at the 44-yard line. Now the ball is placed at the 14, and they're inside the red zone. Jesse Brew, left-hand side, looking for McCorkey. He's got him in the end zone. Touchdown, Compton. That is just their 3rd touchdown of the season. So that goes to the far side of the field, and Arcea McCorker has over 60 yards receiving, 2 receptions, and a touchdown. So that is one painful play for East LA. If you're looking at it from the coach's perspective, you know that they're not happy. Coach Godinez has to be absolutely furious right now, considering that they were at the 44-yard line as they're going to set up for the extra point attempt coming from Marco Medina. Medina gets it blocked from behind, and East LA looks to pick it up. They end up taking it to the floor, and nothing will ensue after that. However, the yellow handkerchief makes an appearance once again, as a flag is going to go against the defense. So Tui Tupou gets called for, gets the block, but we'll see what it is, and it's encroachment on the defense. So they get a huge play there to keep it at 13-6, but they're gonna have to do it again, as Marco Medina gets to line up for it once more. Jesse Brew is going to be the holder for Compton. Medina takes a look at Brew. They're going to quick snap it and get it up and get it in. It's good. So it's going to make it 13-7. And the way that you end up beating a defense like East LA on that field goal is exactly what Jesse Brew did. He ends up looking at Medina, and instead of going through the normal progress of where you look at the kicker, you say they're ready, then you take one breath, you look at the long snapper, and then give it 3 seconds, the snap comes in, and then the field goal attempt. If you see a defense that is trying to anticipate a snap count, what you do is you go for the quick snap. So he looks at the kicker in Medina and says, "Are you ready?" and immediately asks for the football. It changes up the timing for East LA. They can't get to it in time. Medina puts it up, puts it in, and it's now 13-7 in favor of East LA. And again, going back to those personal fouls against the Huskies, it was at the 44-yard line where Jesse Brew was tackled well out of bounds. And then all of a sudden, 2 straight personal fouls on the same play gives up 30 yards to the Huskies. And now you look at The very next play being a 14-yard touchdown pass from Brew going to McCorker. Backpedaling here is Pierre Robinson. He's going to get it at the 10-yard line. Looking over to his right-hand side, looking for blockers. Ends up getting up to the 30, where he is taken down at the 38-yard line. Flag comes flying in, and we will see what the call is there. But currently our score is 13-7, just inside the second quarter of play. 14:24 left to be exact. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. It's going to be a hold going against East LA, so all of a sudden, the Huskies just can't get out of their own way in the last 2 minutes of game time. And East LA had really looked good in the first quarter. Their offense, especially that 92-yard touchdown run by Brian Jones, was clicking really well. And all it took was a couple of personal fouls and a touchdown pass from Jesse Brew, and Compton is right back in it. So East LA takes over at the 25-yard line, their own 25-yard line, as Peterson is going to go into the slot on the left-hand side. He'll be joined by Munguia in addition to Hood. The handoff is on the right hash over to Rams. Rams gets about 5 yards on the play and makes it a 2nd down and 5 to go from the 30-yard line. Actually, excuse me, that is Armando Velasco. So Velasco's still in the backfield. It's going to go to Blazek. Blazek over to Velasco. He dips and dives past 2 different guys. Drags 4 different defenders with him, including Brim Thompson. And he will work his way down to exactly the 35-yard line, which is what they needed for the first down. And they will end up moving the sticks. So first down for East LA. Blazek goes back into the gun. It's where he has operated the entire time. 3 receivers over to his left, one being Munguia, the other being Peterson. Jump on the defensive side of the football momentarily for Compton College. That's Jalen Smith trying to anticipate the snap count. Cedric Hood, far side of the field. Peterson near side along with Watkins and Munguia. Velasco in the backfield. It's going to go over to Hood, who just makes a diving grab over top of the defensive back. Far side of the field, that was Trent Scott II, who is in coverage. And Cedric Hood with a terrific play. He is running over towards his right shoulder, but that ball is about 2 yards over towards his left shoulder. He has to jump, reach across his body, and with 2 hands while laying out, makes the catch. It's a first down coming up for the Huskies as they try and move upfield here in the second quarter. Velasco on the delayed handoff, right-hand side. He finds some open space on the left-hand side, cuts it back, now at the 40, now at the 35, and he gets grabbed and taken down at the 34. So Armando Velasco going from the 49-yard line all the way down to the 35 is where they are actually going to mark him down. 15-yard gain for Velasco, and East LA is humming here on offense. Munguia in the slot on the left-hand side. He's got Cedric Hood as well. This is Velasco finding a hole, goes right into contact where he's going to be met by Damian Wright. And Wright takes him down after a gain of 5.5. Our current score, 13-7. East LA with the lead over top of Compton College. Compton scoring just their 3rd touchdown of the 2019 season. Last week, a big victory for the East LA Huskies over top of Orange Coast College. Ball is placed at the 29-yard line. Blazek trying to get away from some pressure. Tosses it over to Hood on the far side of the field. Nice grab again by Hood, who is showing his hands here. But we've got 2 different flags coming up. One at the 21-yard line. Or excuse me, at the 19-yard line, and the other at the 29. 2 separate sides of the field, so we'll get 2 different calls. White hat walking over to see what the official call will be. 11:30 left to go in the second quarter of play. It's going to be a hold against the defense on one of them. That will be declined. And then we'll have another penalty that goes against Compton College defense. And they're going to decline that as well. So the catch is made as a gain of 17 yards. They declined both of the penalties because both of them would have ended up just being 10-yard gains and first downs. You'll take the yardage. Cedric Hood, either way, ends up getting the stats as well. Wesley Blazek only has 3 seconds on the play clock as he ends up getting the snap off. Blazek, right-hand side, a flag on the near side of the field as Cedric Hood, or excuse me, Brandon Peterson tries to, we'll say, sell the call on the far side of the field. He ends up running into a defender in Craig Slaughter. There is a flag at the 17-yard line. Thank you to Albert Robles for pointing that out. And we'll see what this is going to be. This is going to go against the offense of East LA. And a timeout is taken by the East LA Huskies. So 11:05 left to go here in quarter number 2. It's 13-7, East LA with the lead over top of Compton College. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. An update from Santa Ana, where Fullerton College has kicked a field goal and made it 24-3 with 11:47 to go in the second quarter of play in the 97th key to the county game. Wesley Blazek and the entire East LA offense runs back out there. Blazek finished last week with 247 passing yards and a total of 4 touchdowns as well. Just 1 interception against Orange Coast College. That was over at Weingart Stadium. Blazek with Rams over to his right. He's got Peterson on the far left-hand side. He's going for Cedric Hood. Hood looking for his 3rd catch, but that will be a pass interference penalty going against Shaman Calais. So Calais on the far side of the field. Actually, that's going to go against Trent Scott II. Scott, a defensive back, 6'1", out of Milliken High School. So it is a pass interference penalty. That will be a 15-yard, or of the 15-yard variety, which will bring them to a first down and goal from the 7-yard line. East LA knocking on the door of score number 3. Juan Rangel warming up as Wesley Blazek and company take a look at Rams. Rams trying to go over towards the left. It's Velasco. Velasco turning back over to his right-hand side, tries to get the corner, gets tackled by 2 different guys at the 6-yard line. So he ends up gaining 1. But Albert, when you look at that, he looked like he was going to be stacked 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Velasco, a terrific job of just bouncing it to the outside half and gaining as much as he possibly could out of that play.
Yeah, Velasco definitely made some work out of that. He was clearly going to go nowhere, broke that tackle, gain of 1, and ELAC still within second and goal now.
Here's Wesley Blazek from the 6-yard line. Motion on the offensive line. We're going to get a false start. So all the work that Velasco does on the last play ends up going away, as this should be a false start against the offensive line of East LA. It is indeed. And it's a 5-yard penalty, which should bring them to about the 11-yard line. So it is second down and goal to go. 10-16 left here in quarter number 2. We thank you for joining us, Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles, live from East LA College, Weingart Stadium, as the Huskies try to expand on their 13-7 lead. Wesley Blazek looking over to his left. He's got Munguia and Peterson. Looking for Cedric Hood, or excuse me, Watkins. It goes in and out of the hands of Watkins at the goal line. That will be an incomplete pass. So Watkins with an excellent chance to get a touchdown reception. And for Watkins, that would have been his first touchdown of the season. Can't haul it in, and now we're looking at a 3rd down and 11 to go.
Huge break for Compton there. That was all East Los Angeles touchdown. Went right through the hands. You gotta make those catches.
And, I mean, you mentioned that, Albert, as it will be a timeout taken by Compton, their final of the first half. You know, as an athlete yourself, you know that that's the type of opportunity that he's going to be thinking about, whether it be a week later, whether it be a month later. He's going to be replaying that in his head, the ball going right through his hands and out. As an athlete, how do you shake that off and just reset for the next play?
It's not the easiest thing to do, but that's what you have to do. You have to basically just reset, basically take your little magic eraser, give it a good little shake like you would a net sketch, and just tackle the next play head on as best you can. East Los Angeles doing very well on this drive so far, doing their best to respond to the touchdown from Compton, and hopefully they'll walk away with it, but Compton getting a few good breaks here.
And you mentioned Compton and those breaks. I mean, this is an offense for Compton that quite literally was one of the 3rd or the 3 worst offenses in the entire state coming into this game. In fact, they had -7 yards rushing coming into this one,
which I still find fascinating.
And all of a sudden, they have actually performed pretty well here in the first half.
Very much so. McCorker, very surprising guy. 2 great catches, like the second catch being for the touchdown, the first being for that massive positive yardage early on in the first quarter.
So here's Wesley Blazek from the 11-yard line. He's got a 3rd down and 11 to go. Actually, better yet, 3rd down and goal to go. Wesley Blazek in the shotgun. He's got Pierre Robinson over to his right. Not going to hand it off to him. Ball goes over towards the left where it's incomplete, in and out of the hands once again, this time of DeMonte Presley. So you got to think that Juan Rango is going to jog out there for the field goal. Wesley Blazek not happy with his wide receiving core there, as that's 2 different very catchable balls for East LA that they weren't able to capitalize on.
And much better coverage on the Compton defense on that compared to the previous play. Even though ELAC is going to get a score on this, at least they'll be happy knowing that they walked away with only a field goal when it could have been very easily 6.
Juan Rango, big boot. Down the middle, nope. It goes wide to the right. So Rango can't get that one up and in, and Compton College, so you just mentioned it, they had much better defensive coverage in their secondary on that second passing play where they had 2 different defensive backs closing in on the pass, and then all of a sudden they're able to force a missed field goal. So Compton College, it's kind of a bend but don't break type of defense that you're seeing from them in the last, what we'll say, 10 to 12 minutes of game time, where they're letting East LA drive down the field, but they're just not giving up those points.
Immediate huge improvement in the second quarter compared to their first. In the kickoff after their touchdown, that had some very decent yardage to it compared to the kickoff in the very beginning of the game and previous punts. Huge improvement just from that aspect alone.
And you mentioned that as Jesse Brew tosses over towards the far side of the field, getting away from 1 tackle will be McCorker. And actually that is going to go into the hands of Brim Thompson. So Thompson getting some playing time on the offense. You mentioned that gave Compton excellent field position. And when you look at what East LA had to do on that last drive, they had to drive an additional 25 yards because of that run back. It ended up translating into helping Compton College keep East LA out of the end zone. So that Compton defense showing up here at East LA. It's 13-7, 9:09 left here in quarter number 2. Jesse Brew with the visor on, trying to keep the glare out of his eyes as he takes a look over towards his right-hand side. Getting chased from behind. He's got a wide open guy on the left-hand side of the field. It is nearly picked off as it goes in and out of the hands of Tyrone Clark. Clark reached up with one arm and had it tip off of his fingers and right near Shamar Westone. Westone, the free safety for East LA, sprinting over to try and grab it. Last week, East LA scored 44 points in a victory over top of Orange Coast College. Huskies looked really good last Saturday. This will be Jesse Brew with 3 receivers on his right-hand side, one of them being Matthew Wells. Far side of the field is McCorker. He gets the snap. It's going to go over towards Whitlock. That will be an incomplete pass with Ronald Woods also in the vicinity, as they tried to go with the screen pass on the right-hand side, but East LA was all over top of it. So that will be a 3rd down and 10 to go from the 31-yard line. Third down and 10 to go from the 31. Clock stopped at 8:49 left here in quarter number 2. As lined up on the right-hand side is Ramon Hogan in addition to Hannibal Clark. The snap is there. Stepping up is Brew. He's looking for a pass to Hogan, and that is going to be at least 10 yards behind him. And Brew got decked after delivering that pass. He stayed on the ground just for a couple extra seconds, and the punt team is going to come on for Compton College. Brew has truly taken a beating here in this first half of play, as East LA has been getting into the backfield. So Marco Medina is going to kick it away, as it looks like it might be Tyrone Clark who is back there to receive for the Huskies. This would be Medina's 4th punt of the afternoon. Gets the snap, just does get it away, nearly gets taken down, tries to sell the contact as the ball bounces back to the 43-yard line. Confusion in the crowd as they thought that maybe East LA had actually touched the ball, and Compton had a chance to retake it over, but East LA yelled fire and they get away from it. Marco Medina is really trying to work his position to its fullest opportunities. As he lets that kick go, he ends up falling to the floor and trying to get that roughing the kicker call.
Very narrowly got taken down in that play. Another really good kick from him, much better this time around, improving overall. East Los Angeles very happy forcing the 3 and out on that play, knowing that Compton likes to go for it on 4th down. Hopefully they can actually respond and actually get some scoring opportunities here.
Pierre Robinson is going to start this drive off with a 5-yard carry off the right tackle. That's going to make it 2nd down and 5 to go from the 42-yard line. And when you mention that, Albert, I mean, his last 2 punts had only gone for 21 and 25 yards respectively. That one goes for a total of 35. So that helps them out field position-wise. This is going to be handoff over to Pierre Robinson. Robinson trying to get away from some contact. That's actually Cedric Hood who gets the handoff.
And going to be a loss of 2 on that one.
He gets tackled at the 45. Initially, the side judge was deeming that it was the 46-yard line. They stack him up back at the 45, so now it's 3rd down to go. And 7 yards to get a first. Left-hand side is Hood. On the right-hand side is Peterson and Watkins. Brian Jones in the backfield. He's got 1 rushing touchdown already. Actually, there goes Watkins. Pierre Robinson, left-hand side, trying to get to the 1st down marker. Bounces off 1 tackle, tries to get away from another, and finally gets taken out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Make it the 47. It's a total gain of 2, and this Compton defense shows up again.
An excellent job by Avante Ross to force East Los Angeles offense off out of bounds. Very easily he could have broken that tackle, but he stuck with it.
So East LA 13, Compton just 7 so far, but they're about to get the ball back. Juan Rangel going back for the kick. Back to receive is McCorker. It's a fake. They're going to go on the right-hand side. Here's a chance for Watkins. Watkins in the clear. Make it Jamal Evans. Evans nearly gets taken down far side. He's got 1 more chance to beat 1 guy, and he's down to the 5-yard line. That is one of the more successful trick plays you will ever see in college football. It takes them from the 47-yard line down to the 4. He tricked out quite literally everyone in this stadium who wasn't dressed in gray.
For a minute there, I had no idea what was going on until all of a sudden Evans is down to the 3rd-yard line.
So Evans inside the 5. So it goes as a direct snap to Evans. Evans gets a blocker on the right-hand side in Watkins. They both move up on the right or towards the right hash. They bounce it out together. He stays behind his blocker and finally gets taken down. They're going to mark him at the 4. It looked like what you were saying was the 3-yard line should have been where the ball was placed. Either way, they give it at the 4. Goes to Blazek. Blazek looking for a receiver. Caught. Touchdown, East LA. That's going to be Watkins. Watkins ends up hauling that one in on the left-hand side of the field. So the trick play results in 6, just one play later. And the East LA Huskies get themselves on the board. And that's going to be 20, or make it 19-7. We'll see if Juan Rango can get this one up and in. Kick is up, kick is good. It's 20-7, East LA with the lead. So Watkins hauls it in from 4 yards out. And with just 5:47 remaining here in quarter number 2, East LA has taken a commanding 2-score lead. And just when it looked like Compton College had the momentum and their defense was looking terrific in the last 3 series, again, Jamal Evans executing that perfectly. It also looked like he was going to be stuffed right at the line of scrimmage, which was 6 yards behind the first down marker that they needed. He gets away from that initial contact and finally moves his way down the right sideline. And that ends up as a total gain of 56 yards down to the 4-yard line. And one play later, they are in the end zone. Ball is booted over towards the right-hand side of the field. It is McCorker who's going to take it. McCorker with a chance to move out the field with Matthew Wells, and Wells gets taken out at the 21-yard line is where they will mark him down. So East LA with 5:39 left here in quarter number 2. They lead it 20-7. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left-hand side. We want to remind you that all games here on SportsNetUSA.net are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Maybe you're looking for that new or used vehicle. You want your family member to get around safely, to get around in style. Well, go ahead and check out Miller Toyota of Anaheim. They've got student discounts, military discounts that you can check out either online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports high school sports, community college sports, but most of all, they support education. Once again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim, a proud sponsor of SportsNetUSA.net. We've got an injury timeout here on the field at the 28-yard line. 5:39 left here in quarter number 2. 20-7 is our score. Both teams are going down to a knee to see who exactly has the injury on the far side, as finally getting up is the Compton player, and we get a chance to see who it is. It's Raimundo Acosta, 6'4" defensive end out of Thomas Jefferson Senior High School. So he's able to walk off under his own power, and the trainers from both sides will head back to their respective sidelines. And Compton College will start off their drive from the 23. Jesse Brew is going to be joined out there by Wells, in addition to Hogan and McCorker. Far side of the field, it goes to McCorker. McCorker gets the catch, but he's hauled down after a 3-yard gain. That brings them up to the 25-yard line. So here's Compton College, 2nd down and 7 to go. Ball placed at the 25-yard line. Jesse Brew takes the snap. He's looking over to his left, but 3 different flags come in from 3 different directions. I'm going to say that's going to be a false start going against Compton, and it will indeed be a 5-yard penalty against the Tartars. Compton College, a historic program in Southern California. This was a team that just about 10 years ago was a perennial playoff team. They have fallen on some lean years here recently, but they've had a pretty good showing in this one. Here's Jesse Brew. He wants to run. He's going to look for the sideline. Finally gets wrangled out of bounds at the 23. Four minutes and 15 seconds left here in quarter number 2. Time still ticking down. Jesse Brew got taken down 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, so that's going to bring up a 3rd down and about 9.5 yards to go. Brew runs over towards the sideline, and he'll run back to the huddle. Now this is kind of unusual for college teams. As of lately, Albert, nobody goes with the huddle anymore, let alone under center. But Compton College likes to go out of the huddle. They're going to bring it to Brew. Brew over towards his left, and a flag is going to fly in as the left side of the offensive line moved a shade too early. False start going against Compton. Now the penalties start bogging down this one, as that will march him back 5 yards. 3:45 left in the second quarter. 20-7 is the score. So now instead of a 3rd down and 9 to go, it's going to sit at a 3rd down and 14. Compton College needs at least the 33-yard line for a 1st down. Jesse Brew getting some information from Ramon Hogan. Hogan's going to go over towards the left-hand side. He's joined by Matthew Wells as well. Here's Jesse Brew. Instant contact. He drops the football. East LA will recover. Huge hit that was laid onto the quarterback, Jesse Brew, by John Tuiatupo. And Tuiatupo with the recovery as well. So East LA takes over. And just like that, Albert, we saw Compton get a scoring drive. We saw them stack East LA on 2 different defensive series. But all it took was 1 trick play from East LA, and all of a sudden that momentum that had swung significantly towards Compton's side is now steadily in the hands of the Huskies.
Very much so. The Huskies defense did an excellent job of containing Compton there. You got to be a little bit deflated. For Compton, it was basically 1 step forward, 2 steps back. They gained some yardage and then lose 5. Gained some other yardage, lose 5 again. And of course, you know, the defense stepping up, get that sack and fumble recovery there. And of course, here we go again.
Here's Watkins. He's going to drop that one. They are going to say it's an incomplete pass. That's the 2nd time that Watkins has dropped one that has hit his hands. Also on this side of the field. So it's going to be a 2nd down and 10 to go. And I mean, you mentioned the 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Compton. We had actually seen them gain quality yards in this one. And then all of a sudden, those penalties marching them back, or they end up just not finding a hole in the offensive line to run through. Here's Blazek, goes right down the middle, over into the hands of DeMonte Presley. Touchdown, East LA. So 2 straight big plays for East LA that turn into scoring plays in less than 2 snaps later. They get themselves a 26-7 lead. 3:17 left in quarter number 2. Juan Rango is going to try and get the extra point. Kick is up, and kick is good. So it's now 27-7, a big-time lead for East LA. A flag is down on the field. Is it after the play, or is it during the play? That is the question. Flag is currently on the goal line. White Hat is saying it's against Compton, and it will be declined, leading to an East LA extra point. So it ends up being a huge turnover for Compton College. Jesse Brew with the fumble. All of a sudden, that turns into a DeMonte Presley touchdown from about 11 yards out.
Big time catch from Presley and an absolute laser from Blazek, just pinpointed directly at his receiver for a wonderful touchdown.
And you mentioned that throw. It's pretty often in the community college level where you'll see quarterbacks try and throw it to their receiver but not lead their receiver into open space. You mentioned the throw. That one was right on line in stride to his wide receiver.
All Presley had to do was throw up his arms and catch it, and he did just that and hauled it in. Compton defense couldn't do anything about it.
Ball booted into the air. It's going to go all the way to McCorker on the far side of the field. He's at the 2-yard line. He's reversing his side of the field. He's going to not be hauled in at the 10. He's going to work his way down to the 16 where he gets taken out into the trainer's bench. And McCorker is still down. Time is called for a moment on the field as McCorker got pushed out of bounds. The Compton coaching staff isn't happy as they thought they had a similar play on the far side of the field. We remember when Jesse Brew got taken out after he had crossed the out of bounds marker. Compton's coaching staff thought that it was the same thing with McCorker here. He ends up getting pushed out of bounds, but his momentum takes him directly into a trainer's table down there, and he is still out for the moment being. So they are checking on him, the entire coaching staff, and we've got a break in the action. 3:02 left in quarter number 2. It's 27-7. East LA with a 20-point lead. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. 4 touchdowns for East LA, 1 for Compton so far. As there's a break for the time being as everyone is checking on Arcea McCorker, who had been terrific in this game. Albert mentioned it earlier. He had 3 receptions, 2 of them absolutely sensational. 1 for over 42 yards, another one for a 14-yard touchdown catch. And he's going to end up being helped to his feet and try and get over towards the far sideline.
Wonderful to see him actually get up and walk under his own power. It's a little bit reassuring that hopefully he can maybe re-enter this game for Compton. He's been part of the biggest, factor of this Compton offense at all in this entire game.
So McCorker, quick wave to the crowd as he will work his way to the far side. He's getting high fives from the East LA Huskies as he's making his way over there. And that just shows you the respect that they have for him and how well he has played in this game. McCorker looking really good, and now all of a sudden Compton is going to have to take the field without one of their better offensive threats. So the ball will be placed at the 15-yard line where Jesse Brew and company will take over. Matthew Wells will be on the right-hand side of the field, Hogan on the far left-hand side, and he is joined out there by Clark. Snap is taken. Jesse Brew trying to get away from some contact behind the line of scrimmage. He tosses towards the sideline. Is it hauled in? It is not. As it looked like it was Clark who was trying to tap his toes right at the 25-yard line. But they will say that he didn't actually keep control of the football. And a flag is down in the backfield behind the quarterback, Jesse Brew. That's normally where you would see a hold. And we'll see what the call is. As the umpire is standing over the ball, getting set to end up walking out the yards. Nope, they're going to waive it. The umpire still thinks that, okay, now he's got the communication. For a moment there, the umpire was still waiting to actually walk the yards back. But the white hat ends up waving the flag. And Compton College with a 2nd down and 10 from the 15. Matthew Wells, right-hand side. They've got Clark on the far side. Here's a toss up the middle to Clark. That is in and out of the hands of Aaron Hill. Hill had the interception there, and that is going to be another injury coming up. Actually, 2 injuries for Compton College. One on the offensive line is getting up is Jacob Jimenez. But Jesse Brew, if I'm not mistaken, is still down. And again, he has taken some really big hits, and he's wobbly getting up there. The flag was thrown immediately following the hit to Jesse Brew. And for Brew, they've got to get him off the field for the time being. As it looks like Brew got hit right about the line of scrimmage by John Tuiatupo. And they have already walked out the yards. It's a personal foul going against the defensive line. An automatic 1st down as well, as a new quarterback is going to run out there. And I think they're going to give it to Matthew Wells, the quarterbacking duties. And it is indeed Wells who will take over. Normally we had seen Shimon Calais, but instead it will be Wells. So Wells takes over on the offensive side of the football. He's going to run it himself. He goes to the far side of the field. He's got a lot of speed to burn, goes into some contact, still on his feet, and gets it up to the 41-yard line. And if Wells can do that consistently, yes, it's only the first play of the drive that he's in there, but if Wells can do that consistently, that's a whole new dimension for Compton.
Very much so. That was probably one of the more well-executed plays Compton has showed so far, especially, from Wells, who's playing wide receiver this entire time, coming to the quarterback unexpectedly with the injury to Brew. That was one heck of a run. 1st down and 11 yards, I think, on that play.
It only goes 11 yards. Now, they've had longer opportunities in this ballgame, but you just get the feeling that that last burst by Wells may have been one of the quickest we have seen all afternoon.
Very much so.
So here's Wells. He'll get the snap, taking a look downfield, still looking for a chance. He gets taken down from behind. It's a sack for East LA. The defensive line shows up big, as it looks like it's going to be credited to Joshua Murillo, 6'4" defensive lineman out of Winter Park, Florida. So Wells was trying to look upfield. He got caught from behind by Murillo. Murillo joined by Key and Tuiatupo, in addition to the far side of the field being manned by Emmanuel Cater. 3 wide receiver set on the right-hand side of the field. Far side is Clark. Here's Wells in the shotgun, getting pressured heavily. That ball is fluttering into the air, trying to come back for it was Clark, but he's not going to end up getting to it in time. And now Wells is shaken up. And Wells is really feeling the effects of that hit. So if you're Compton College, now you're looking for someone else on the offensive side of the football who has maybe played some quarterback, at least in high school, because they have only run out 2 different quarterbacks all season long. Now Wells is out there. Wells still trying to shake off that last hit. So East LA finally getting into the backfield. We've got 1:18 left to go until halftime. Wells looking around. He gets the snap. He's going to move over to his right. Gets away from one guy. Still looking upfield. Floating it near side. And a group of 4 are there. And it goes past the awaiting arms of Jemai Merchant. So that will be out of bounds. And a 4th down coming up for Compton. Wells still trying to shake off the effects of that hit from 2 plays ago.
You got to admire the toughness of Wells. Stepping into a position he clearly wasn't ready for, but doing his best to stay with it in support of his team.
Looks like Compton is going to kick it away. as Marco Medina will hop out there and look for the punt. And Voss Price is sitting back.
Marco Medina in his punt for Compton.
This is going to go to Medina. Medina can't find it. He gets decked. He ends up losing the football. They're going to whistle it down, and it looked like the football was out before he ended up hitting the deck. But they whistle it down at the 20. Either way, it's still a turnover. Medina not happy with himself, tosses his helmet to the sideline, and he's going to get a personal foul. An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty coming up against Medina as he is having words with the official on the far side of the field. And so, as if it wasn't bad enough for Compton College to have that snap go backwards and get tackled, now all of a sudden you've got the misconduct, or excuse me, the unsportsmanlike conduct. That should march it down to around the 10-yard line.
And that was a very high snap to Medina. Medina 6'1", but he's a heavy 6'1". He's not going to be the easiest of leap to try to make and rein in that catch.
So it ends up being a personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, to Marco Medina for tossing his helmet, and that is going to be a 15-yard penalty, bringing them right down to the 5. So if East LA can capitalize on this, all of a sudden, it's Compton who has really hurt themselves in this situation. So you got Rams in the backfield. Mungia on the left-hand side in the slot. Justin Watkins wide over towards the left. Peterson in the slot on the right-hand side. And Cedric Hood wide to the right. Wesley Blazek looking to capitalize on touchdown number 3 for him. It's going to go to Rams. Rams, right-hand side, tries to cut back inside, and he's got the end zone. Touchdown, East LA. There's a personal foul going against, I believe it's going to be Compton College, as Mungia and a defensive back for Compton were getting into it on the left hash. And it looks like that's going to be Eli Williams. So the end result is a touchdown. And it will be a personal foul going against Eli Williams. They're going to enforce it on the kickoff. 54.6 seconds left to go. 27-7 was the score. Now you can boost it up. As Juan Rango gets set to kick this one away, he just does get it off. Does it go through? It does not. So wide to the right, and the scoreboard should reflect a 34-7 lead in favor of East LA, or make it 33-7 East LA lead.
And Rams making it look easy on that touchdown round, second of the day.
So 54.6 on the clock in quarter number 2. It's a 34-7 lead. Or it should be a 33-7 lead.
Should be 33.
Scoreboard over to our right has it at 34-7. But you are watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. East LA is starting to tack it on here in quarter number 2 as we're getting set for halftime in just a couple of moments. 54.6 showing on the clock. 33-7 is our score. Juan Rango getting prepared to kick this one away. The clock shows zeros as this gets booted up and into the end zone. That will make its way out of bounds. Some collisions middle of the field as both teams starting to get chippy. Two sides talking back and forth with one another as a couple of East LA guys were just yanked out of that pile. And one of them in the middle of it being Maletasi Sofa. And we do get a flag on the play. So you would think that that's going to be in the unsportsmanlike conduct region as well. We'll see whether or not it goes on Compton or East LA. Normally it's the secondary person, the reaction, that gets called for it. Personal foul going against Compton College. So instead of starting at the 20-yard line, it's a personal foul going against Compton. They're going to have to march it backwards. Actually, excuse me, from the 30-yard line is where they are getting set to march off the yards. Officials still trying to work it out. They finally make it to the 25, and now they will march off the penalty, which should bring it to about the, we'll say, 17-yard line. So they go from the 27 down to the 17, and Compton is going to have to figure things out here. They've got Wells, who is going to stay in at quarterback, as Jesse Brew may have been knocked out of this game. And they're going to finally take off 5 more yards, because they had initially just marched off 10 of those 15. Then finally they place it back at around the 12.5-yard line. So that's where Compton will start it off on this drive. In the backfield is Vincent Whitlock. And Compton just wants to take a knee and send us to halftime. So the clock should start as they finally do start it off. They're going to let it run. 2nd down and 11 to go, as there's the knee, and that should take us to the half. Our score at the end of 2 quarters of play, it's 33-7. East LA on top of Compton College. You are watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left-hand side. As you take a look at midfield right now, both of these two sides, well, it hasn't exactly been the prettiest of games for either team. You look at Compton, they have had some really bright spots in this ball game. You look at East LA, they have capitalized really well, but neither team has put together a full 30 minutes of football.
I'd have to agree with that. I mean, Compton is definitely doing better than I had expected to coming into this game. Really good offensive shows from McCorker. Hopefully he'll be able to come back into this game in the second half. Compton, they very wisely just took a knee going into the half. They need to take this time to mentally regroup, clean up some of the plays that they've been making. A lot of those, offensive and defensive holds that have, negatively impacted them. And, while they are probably out of this game, at least they can come out, play with some heart and actually, make some improvements within their play.
They've only had 2 touchdowns coming into this ball game. They got one in the first quarter. Their first score in the first quarter in 2019. In fact, you have to go to about I believe it was week 3 of last year, the last time that they actually scored in a first quarter of play. So, again, when you look at Compton, as you said, in the second half, they have the opportunity to fix a lot of things. But if you're Compton College, how do you look at this second half and say, all right, we have our offense who needs a little bit of tune-up, but our defense has looked really well. If you're Compton, how do you look at the second half? Are you looking more at the offense or at the defensive side?
It's very hard to see how they're going to address, where they're lacking. Clearly, their offense has taken a hit with the loss of McCorker and Brew going down. I'd say they'll probably have to focus on the defense. That's where their strengths have been. Hopefully, their defense can make some very good plays against the Huskies' offense and see if they can improve from there, because it's going to take a lot from their offense to make up whatever deficit they have right now.
So you look at the current deficit, it's 33-7, our score at half, where East LA leads Compton College. Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles. We will step aside for the moment being, and when we come back, we'll have some of the halftime stats in addition to a look at the California scoreboard. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Weingart Stadium here on the campus of East LA College as we get set for half number 2 between East LA and Compton. Compton, they deferred to start off this ball game, so they're going to get it to start off the second half. Back to receive is Ronald Woods in addition to Wells. Ball gets kicked over towards Wells' side. He may just let that go out. Nope, he ends up catching it at the 7. He's going to turn it over towards his right, runs into his own blocker, and gets chased out of bounds at the 17-yard line. So Compton will start their drive here in half number 2 at the 17. Our score is 33-7. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles, live here at East LA as the Huskies have a commanding lead over top of Compton College. The Tartars are going to start off at the 18-yard line, so they reset where the ball was placed. So they look at the 18, 1st and 10 for Compton. Are they going to run out Wells, or are they going to bring back Brew? And it looks like Brew is going to re-enter the ball game. The 5'9" quarterback, and already we have our first flag of the second half. This is going to be a delay of game going against the offense. So a 5-yard penalty going against East LA. Our score, 33-7. The Huskies with the lead over top of Compton. Here's Jesse Brew. Brew over towards the left-hand side. Brew looking for a teammate. Nearly gets that one picked off. In and out of the hands of Zion Dixon. I don't think you will see a pass that goes much more direct into the hands of a defender than what you just saw there from Jesse Brew. Brew got knocked out of the second quarter as the 5'9" quarterback got leveled 3 different times successively by the defensive line of East LA. Wells came in to back up behind him. 10 seconds left on the play clock. Brew gets the snap. He's looking over towards his left. He wants to run it himself. Still staying behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to take it all the way to the 15, 16-yard line. And finally you get chased out of bounds after a gain of 3. So that should bring up a 3rd down and 12 to go. Jesse Brew running back over, looking for the sign from the sideline. East LA has Hannibal Clark. He will run over, ball placed on the right hash. Clock ticking down, 14-15, just underway here in the 3rd quarter. 26-point lead for East LA. Wide to the right is McCorker, wide to the left is Hogan. He's joined out there by Hannibal Clark as well. Brew under pressure, wants to get it away, gets hit as he throws. The ball is loose, but they're going to say it's an incomplete pass as Brew gets taken to the floor once again. And that should bring up 4th down and 12, and Medina is going to jog back out there. Now earlier, we saw Medina get a snap go over top of his head and fall to his feet. He ended up getting tackled for a loss of about 21 yards on a punt attempt. We'll see what happens here for Compton College. Medina then threw his helmet to the floor and got a personal foul for an unsportsmanlike conduct. Medina back there, he gets the snap. That one's high too. This one nearly gets blocked. He goes to the floor. A fair catch is made. In behind the play, there is a flag called, or a flag tossed. Is it going to go against East LA for running into the kicker possibly? Now running into the kicker is a 5-yard penalty. Roughing the kicker is an automatic 1st down. And it will be, I believe, running into the kicker. So they are going to place the ball down over at the 17-yard line. As they work through what exactly happened. So it is going to be running into the kicker, which should be a 5-yard penalty. And that's what they're going to rule. Running into the kicker, 5-yard penalty against the defense, which brings it to the 21. Medina this time is able to get the kick away. It's going to go towards the far side of the field. We're taking a look at it and calling fires Jonathan Blackman, and it will go out at the 46-yard line. 13:27 remaining here in quarter number 3. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles joining you live from East LA College, where the Huskies lead it 33-7. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net.
Should be noted that was another good 40-plus yard punt out of Medina there. Lots of improvement that second time around.
Here's Wesley Blazek. He's got 3 wide in addition to Pierre Robinson in the backfield. Robinson over to his left, trying to pick up on the pressure. Here's Blazek getting over to the sideline. Can he get to the original line of scrimmage? He cannot. So it'll be a loss of 1. And that will make it a second down and 11 yards to go. Here's the snap taken by Blazek, turns over to his right, finds the receiver far side in Munguia. Munguia follows one would-be tackler and finally gets taken out at the 49-yard line of Compton. So they flip the field, and East LA is inside of Compton territory. Now East LA's offense looked pretty good last week. Again, they scored 44 points in a 44-17 win over top of Orange Coast College. Wesley Blazek at the helm there, got over 200 yards passing. He's back here for East LA and looking to take it into the air. Instead, he hands it off on a delay over to Robinson. Robinson gets stacked by 2, one of them being Bryn Thompson. And that should make it 4th down and about 2.5. Are they going to go for it? Looks like East LA is going to go for it. Peterson goes to the far side of the field. Munguia on the left-hand side, Hood on the far side. Near side is Watkins. Trying to get Compton to jump off sides is Blazek. Now he'll take a look at the sideline. He's still got 20 seconds left on the play clock. He rearranges Robinson to go over to his right hip. Blazek looking at the sideline. He's got the sign he likes. Goes back, looking to pass right up the middle to Peterson, caught for a first down. That'll be at the 32-yard line. So Brandon Peterson just finds a little pocket of open space in between the safety and the linebackers. And a line pass by Blazek is perfectly placed. And it will be a first down coming up to East LA. Left-hand side. Now lining up will be Blackman. Blackman joined by Peterson and Munguia. Far side of the field is Watkins. This is going to be tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it will land for an incomplete pass. So to move it to 2nd down and 10 to go from the 32-yard line. Blazek in the backfield going from the shotgun. Turns over to his right. Peterson wasn't looking for that football at all. As Peterson initially ran his route, wheeled it over towards the right-hand side. The ball was tossed to him at about the 32-yard line. But he was looking to get upfield. Little miscommunication for East LA on the offensive side of the football. And that brings up 3rd down and 10. Near side of the field, it's going to be Peterson, joined by Munguia and Blackman. Far side is Watkins. Snap is taken by Blazek, or at least it will be, after the 3, or make it the 5-yard penalty for false start.
On the offense, number 79, 5-yard penalty.
Third down and 15. The 22-yard line of Compton College is what East LA needs to get to.
That's a big wreck for Compton College right there. At the rate that East Los Angeles has been playing right now, they can easily get 10 yards on just about any play. 15 is very hard to get on the third down.
This goes back to Blazek. Blazek with some pressure behind him. He doesn't see it. It's Peterson diving for the ball. He's got it. It won't be enough for a first down as a late flag comes flying in. That might be Peterson for taunting afterwards. And it is indeed. So it's an unsportsmanlike against Peterson. If you're Peterson in that situation, you're not picking up the first down. You can't afford to turn around and look at the defense and start taunting.
And that was a big-time play from the Huskies, but that just negated all the forward progress he had. You probably could have done something with that fourth down upcoming, and now basically probably have to punt that off now.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that. It was a 12-yard pickup. And now all of a sudden, not only is that a race, they lose 4 yards on this play. So that's huge. And just like you mentioned, Albert, now they've got to bring out Juan Rangel to punt it away. So wise spot from you as East LA is now going to have to kick it away instead of having a very manageable fourth down. And you know that Compton is going to go with a completely different coverage than what we saw in the first half after that trick play earlier. This will be straight up to Rangel. Rangel looking to pin it inside the 10. High floater that will go into the end zone. And that will allow for Compton College to take over at the 20. Our score is still 33-7 with 10:46 left in the third quarter. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Speaking of SportsNetUSA.net, we've got the Key to the County game. 97th edition of that game going on over at the Santa Ana Bowl, where it's a 37-10 lead for Fullerton College over top of Santa Ana. A lot of people picked that game to be at least an 80 to 90 point difference between Fullerton College and Santa Ana. And no, that's not a typo. That's not me exaggerating. Last year it was 88-0. As that one goes and becomes an incomplete pass that was delivered to Hannibal Clark. And it's now second down and 10 for Compton. But 33-10 is the score over at the Key to the County. Back here at East LA, the Huskies in control of this one. But we're still early here in the third quarter, 10:40 to play. 33-7, 26-point lead for the East LA Huskies. Huskies in gray today with black pants and black helmet as well. Snap is taken by Brew. He's going to look over towards his left, tries to find Clark, just does land in his hands. The catch is made. So now it's going to be a fourth down and about 6 yards to go. They need to make it to the 30-yard line to pick up a first down. Ten minutes exactly on the clock as it still winds down. It's actually going to be a third down and 6 for Jesse Brew. Now 4 seconds on the play clock. He's got to get it off. He does get it into his hands. He's going to roll over to his right. He's got some room to run. If he can get to the edge, he does so and will only end up gaining about 1.5 yards as they will place the ball down at the 27-yard line. That's going to switch everything up. So it will allow for Medina to run onto the field, and he's going to have to kick it away. So this should be good field position for East LA, depending on where the return is going to go. Dante Coxum is back to receive. A couple of guys getting off the field. Malaya Tassi Sofa will jog back on, and that should be 12 guys on the field for East LA. there are 12 guys on the field for East LA. So not only does Sofa jog off the field, he comes back on, and the East LA Huskies still have 11 or have 12. So it's going to be a penalty for too many men on the field. They had 12 guys in formation. So it'll be a 5-yard penalty against East LA and an automatic, or excuse me, not an automatic, but a first down going against East LA. So that allows for the Compton offense to stay on the field. And Albert, you mentioned in the first half those penalties can hurt you if you are the Huskies. Well, it hurts them here because they had the opportunity to take the ball back. Now all of a sudden after that penalty, miscommunication or maybe a little bit of distraction, and all of a sudden Compton's back on offense.
Yeah, very, very uncharacteristic of the Huskies so far in this game. It hasn't been very often that you've seen, the miscommunication so far in the first half. Hardly any at all. Just a few, careless plays, and lots of miscommunication in this one here.
Here's Wells turning around, trying to find that pass, and it will be out of bounds. So we're starting to get some chippiness and some after-play conversations, we will say, as a flag is down on the field. And it looks like from the reactions of Compton, it's going to go against them. Cameron Johnson reacting pretty animatedly.
Emphatically, as I would say. I'm not happy about it at all. It looks like it's going to be against him, yeah.
So that's going to be a chop block going against the Compton Tartars. And it will indeed be against Cameron Johnson. So that's going to march it back a good 15 yards. And that's one of the new rules that is taking place in whether it be the NCAA, the NAIA, or the CCCAA, where if you end up going and blocking anywhere below around the thigh area, you're going to get called for that, as they try and emphasize player safety. So Jesse Brew now with a first down and quite a bit to go, 25 yards. He's going to toss it well into the air off to the right-hand side, as there is a little bit extra after that play ends. Looks like it should have been a penalty to East LA. It looked like Emmanuel Cater got into it with an offensive lineman in Jesse Toro for Compton, but they don't throw a flag, and it will stay at second down and 25. Four wide receiver set for Compton. Far side of the field, they have McCorker joined by Clark. Near side of the field, they're going to go with Ramon Hogan. In addition to Matthew Wells. Couple of guys subbing off. Manuel Cater is going to take a seat for East LA. Running on will be Kamana Nobriga. Whitehat's still trying to get an explanation from his crew. They finally decide on where that ball's going to go. And it will stay at the 17.5-yard line of Compton College. 8:02 left as the clock keeps ticking down. Play clock still not activated yet on the left-hand side. This is going to go to Jesse Brew. Brew takes the snap. He immediately hands it off to Wells. Wells dips out of a tackle. He ends up getting taken down 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. So Wells, even though he has tremendous speed, that can be the problem with those end-around / pitch type of plays, in which, yes, you have the opportunity for space on the far side of the field, but by the time the receiver gets to that football, he's already run close to 25 yards. And if he ends up getting the edge on the far side of the field, now you're looking at asking him to not only run those 25 to get to the football, an additional 10 to pass the left tackle, an additional 10 to get upfield, and it ends up as a rush for -1. Too much to run laterally to get a couple of yards up the field, as there will be a flag going against East LA.
Looks like they're trying to call delay a game, even though I don't think the clock had even started or was running.
The play, yeah, you're absolutely right. They called a delay of game. It's a 5-yard penalty, but we're looking at the play clock, and it's sat at 40. Either way, it's a 3rd down and about 400 yards. This is going to be flown over to the far side of the field, picked off by Aaron Hill. Hill looking to return it. He's on the 50. He's got it to the 40. A flag comes out. That's going to be a hold. So no matter what he does, it's going to be called back. Aaron Hill gets taken out at the 18-yard line. But 2 different flags come in. It should be a hold going against East LA right at about the 48-yard line. It is a pick that is taken from taken by Aaron Hill from Jesse Brew. We'll see what the fouls are. White hat going up. It's going to be a personal foul. It should be against East LA. So there it is, a personal foul and a hold. One of them is declined. That's the personal foul, which I believe should have been a block in the back. And then it goes to a holding call, which is accepted. And now it's going to be a run back to about the 42-yard line. The officials are making us do too much math here. In the second half of play, 6:44 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's 33-7. East LA on top of Compton. Rudy Garcia runs in as he's going to take over for Wesley Blazek. Garcia takes the snap, turns it over to Pierre Robinson. Robinson going lateral, now dips and dives his way to the inside, nearly gets absolutely blasted at the 50-yard line. He ends up making it down to the 49. And he was being chased by Avante Ross, and Ross is hearing it from the East LA sideline. Trips on the right-hand side of the offense. This goes to Rudy Garcia. He's going to hand it off. It goes to Pierre Robinson. Makes one guy miss. Now dips over towards the right-hand side. The cutback brings him to the 37-yard line. And there's another flag, as it looks like this is going to be after the play. And it should be a personal foul going against the Compton defense. So let's see what call is on the field. Personal foul going against Compton. And it will go against Christopher Willis. So Willis, too much contact after the play was officially whistled dead. And Compton is going to take a timeout. 5:54 left to go here in quarter number 3. It's a 33-7 game. East LA still with the lead. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. All games here on SportsNetUSA.net are brought to you by the wonderful Miller Toyota of Anaheim. If you're looking for that new or used vehicle, or maybe it's more of a parts and service department that you're looking for, the number one thing that people search for when they're looking to get a new, whether it be product, piece of equipment, a car, whatever it may be, they want good customer service. You can find that at the corner of the 91 and Euclid at Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Their parts and service department opens 7 days a week for your convenience. You can check them out online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports high school sports, community college sports, but most of all, they support education. Once again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Rudy Garcia gets away from the pressure here as we're back underway. He goes for it himself, and he will be absolutely run into at the 7-yard line, but Garcia will pick up a total of 17 yards.
Big tackle on with Brim Thompson on that one.
Garcia feeling it just a little. He's readjusting his shoulder pads, helmet, and cleats as well after getting taken down, as you mentioned, Albert, by Bryn Thompson. So he's now got a receiver on the left-hand side in DeMonte Presley. On the right is Voss Price. Pierre Robinson in the backfield on the right. He's also got Brian Jones. Here's Robinson who gets the handoff, and he gets stuffed. That's going to be after gaining just 1. And quickly the officials run in so that way they can break it up afterwards, trying to limit as many personal fouls as possible between these two sides, as it has gotten excessively chippy in the last, we'll say, 10 minutes of game time. Kershawn Snelson is now on the far side of the field, getting some playing time at wide receiver. Here is Rudy Garcia. Takes the snap, looking for Pierre Robinson. He'll take it himself. Cuts back inside. Touchdown, East LA. So Rudy Garcia with a terrific run into the end zone. He's going to make it 39-7 with 4:07 to play in the third quarter. And this has just been two different types of offense from East LA, which is kind of what we saw against Cerritos, where when Rudy Garcia comes in, it's more of a mobile style of offense with more options. Here's a chance for Juan Rangel to get it up and in, and he does. So it's now 40-7, as there's an injured Compton player on the ground. And then Wesley Blazek is more of a surgical type of quarterback, trying to march his way upfield as methodical as possible with high chance plays. And it's going to allow for Rudy Garcia to get the team back on the board, this time from about 7 yards out. Garcia, as he gets through the line of scrimmage, makes one guy miss, then cuts back over to his left, crosses the goal line, and makes it 40-7. Compton is 0-2 to start the season. East LA is 1-1 as they try and get 2 wins. Last year they had a total of 4 wins in their first year in the National Conference. Better than a lot of experts around the media and the state of California thought they would do, as this is Rangel who kicks this one high and over towards the 5-yard line, where it gets picked up on the far side by Wells. Wells trying to cut it back over towards the right. We've got a flag on the near side of the field at the 26-yard line. White hat out there, personal foul going against East LA. That's going to make it a first down as they add 15 yards. 36-yard line is where Compton is going to start off their drive. We'll see whether or not it's going to be Wells or Brew who take over at quarterback. Wells had a good couple plays at QB in his only series, but they will bring out Jesse Brew once again. As Albert said, we have to commend Jesse Brew for being out there after taking the shots that he did in the second quarter. Brew tries to get the defense to move and ends up getting his offensive line to go. So that's a false start. March it back 5 yards, and it's now at the 31-yard line. They have to get to the 41, or excuse me, the 46-yard line for a first down. Jesse Brew turning over towards his left, looking for a teammate. Can't find one. Now does find a receiver who gets absolutely decked as soon as that ball passes through the hands of Jemai Merchant. So a big-time defensive play there is made by Carlos Alvarez, as Alvarez with a huge hit on Merchant. You want to talk about wide receivers having to work through contact. You don't normally see that much contact on a receiver who didn't end up getting the reception. Nonetheless, it ends up going to the floor. And with 2:55 to go here in the third quarter, Jesse Brew is going to look over towards his left. He's going to take it himself. He's got some speed, goes inside, outside, finally lands at the 43-yard line, or excuse me, the 38-yard line. And it will be a third down and about 7 yards to go. So somewhat manageable here for Compton. We'll see whether or not they're able to pick up a first down. This East LA defense has performed much better here in the second half. One touchdown for East LA here in quarter number 3. Jesse Brew wants to go himself. He's going to go inside, won't get to the first down marker. He gains 3. And it will be a fourth down and 4 yards to go as the punting unit comes on for Compton. So Medina is going to kick it away. Voss Price is back to receive for East LA. It's 40-7 here in quarter number 3. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left-hand side as the Huskies still in a big lead, and this goes well over the head of Medina. Medina trying to find it. Medina still can't get to it. He's going to get absolutely rocked at the 15-yard line. Here's a personal foul that comes flying in. It might be against Medina. We had seen him get a personal foul before on a very similar type situation. And we'll see what it's going to be as that snap goes well over the head of Medina. Personal foul against the defense, so against East LA. They do force the turnover, but that's going to march them back 15 yards from the 17-yard line. So it should go to the 32.
And that definitely had to be the hit on Medina when he went down. There was 3 players on top of him, very shaken up as he was walking off the field.
Minute 21 left here in quarter number 3. We have seen some players in this game just take some really heavy hits, especially in quarters number 2 and 3. Bluffing the blitz there is Compton right up the middle, and that's going to be a roughing the passer call. Should go against Christopher Willis of the Compton defense, which would come with an automatic first down.
There is a flag in the backfield.
As Rudy Garcia got taken down, he runs over to the East LA sideline. Roughing the passer against the defense, as that goes once again against Christopher Willis. So an automatic first down given to East LA and Rudy Garcia, so it was already really good field position. Was knocked back by a personal foul. Now you have a roughing the passer call that brings it near the original line of scrimmage at the 17. And East LA has a chance to really increase their lead here as they are up by 33. And East LA is going to call a timeout. So they weren't happy with what they were seeing on the defensive side of the football. With this break in the action, it's 1:16 left to go in the third quarter of play. 40-7 is our score with East LA on top. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left. And Albert, when you look at this game, the first quarter went by fast. Second quarter, we saw a lot more stoppages due to injury. Now here in the third quarter, it's all about the penalty flag.
It seems like there's a penalty on almost every single other play we've seen so far. I mean, you got to admire the Compton defense and their aggressiveness and trying to stay in the game, but a little too aggressive with that roughing the passer on that last call.
And if you're Rudy Garcia also, you have to commend him for just getting right back up after taking that hit. I mean, he was blasted in the backfield as he let go of that football.
Not nearly as much as a Brew has been blasted. I mean, he was out for the count and back in this game. I think the only player who's yet to return so far who has taken a hit would be McCorker.
Here's a pitch that goes over to Voss Price. Price ends up looking the wrong way, and it looks like the ball is out. From initial looks like East LA has recovered. No word from the officials thus far, as we've got an East LA player down, and they're going to call an injury timeout. On the far side of the field, it looks like it's Brian Jones. So Brian Jones is the guy down for East LA. 48.3 left to go here in quarter number 3. And it's still a 40-7 lead for East LA. They're going to call over all the trainers for Brian Jones. So we've got a break in the action here. You are watching and listening to SportsNetUSA.net's coverage of East LA College football. Live here at East LA. Some community college football going on over at Santa Ana College, or at least the Santa Ana Bowl, as it is Fullerton College who is leading it by a score of 39-10. We have some scores from around the state of California. In Northern California, De Anza finally gets their first win of the season as they end up beating Gavilan College by a final of 20-10. They had 13 points in the second quarter, and Gavilan just wouldn't be able to recover from that. American River and San Mateo. San Mateo has looked terrific here in the early going. They take down American River 42-10, 21 points in the second quarter for San Mateo, compared to no scores until late in the third for American River to make it a 42-10 ball game. San Mateo with the victory. As we keep looking at the Northern California scoreboard, Los Medanos and Cabrillo, as they go into the half, it's 14-7 Cabrillo with the lead. Down here in Southern California, Golden West with their first win of the season. It's a 34-12 final. So Rashawn Haylock here on SportsNetUSA.net. The voice of Golden West College football, the franchise, gets his first victory of the 2019 schedule. 34-12, the final there, as Golden West with double digits in the second and fourth quarters. Palomar ends up losing to Citrus 33-24. Palomar's now 1-2. El Camino 70. LA Harbor 7. That's a rough one for the LA Harbor Seahawks. Back here on the field, Rudy Garcia is going to take the snap from the gun. He looks to hand it off and does find Velasco, but Velasco only able to get back to the original line of scrimmage, and we're sitting at 3rd down and 5 to go. Keeping up with the rest of the state of California, Yuba and Merced. It's Yuba 20, Merced 7. Fullerton College 52, Santa Ana 10 as they start off the fourth quarter of play. And we have Allen Hancock who loses to Ventura as Flags and whistles show up once again before the play can get off.
That's the end of the third quarter.
Actually, it's going to be the end of the third. So 40-7 is our score as we enter the fourth quarter of play. East LA with the lead. You are watching East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles, live here at East LA. Cerritos and Desert, 43-7. Cerritos over top of College of the Desert. RCC just barely beating San Bernardino Valley. That's going to be a huge one. If San Bernardino Valley can somehow pull off a victory over the #1 team in the nation, that's huge. San Bernardino Valley is in the American Conference. That's a lower division than RCC, and they are just 4 points behind at halftime. We move over to Mount Sac and Chaffee, a similar situation. Mount Sac is currently #4 in the state of California. Chaffee is in the American Division. They currently go to about 6 minutes and 11 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Mount Sac hanging on by just 1 point at 22-21. Saddleback, who has continued their role, they now lead at 46-28. And San Diego Mesa, 49, LA Pierce 6. That rounds out the scores in the state of California as Rudy Garcia has the ball at the 12-yard line, going from left to right now here in the fourth quarter. Garcia trying to lead them into the end zone again. Here's Velasco, straight dive right down the middle. He gets stuffed after gaining 4. Wasn't enough for the first down, but that's going to bring up a fourth down and about 1.5 to 2 yards to go. And will the field goal unit come on, or will Garcia stay out there for East LA? It looks like Garcia is going to keep it. Receiver on the right-hand side is Daniel Dexter. Voss Price in the slot on the left. Garcia trying to get the defense to go offside. He does get the initial jump, now takes a look at the sideline. Snap is taken. Looking over towards his right is Garcia looking for the end zone. A terrific grab on the right-hand side of the field. That is going to be hauled in for a touchdown catch by Angel Lopez. Actually, excuse me, that's Jaden James. Sensational catch by Jaden James, who had the defender draped all over top of him, and yet he was still able to make the catch. So that extends the lead to 46-7. Juan Rangel can put an exclamation point on the touchdown catch here. The extra point is through. So it will be a 40-point lead at 47-7. East LA with the big-time opportunity presented by Rudy Garcia on 4th down and 2 to go. And they would end up being successful on the touchdown pass over to Jaden James. So now if you're East LA, Albert, you really have a chance in the rest of this ball game to just really look at the 3rd and 4th string guys and say, hey, you're not, as we go into conference play, as we go into league play, you're not going to get the most amount of playing time. So here's your chance to go in there and take on a national division opponent.
Yeah, in these late stages with this deficit, might as well give some of those 2nd and 3rd string players their time, see what they can do. They might show you something to later improve your offense in the later parts of the season as you go forward.
And it's like, I mean, you and I are both baseball guys. It's like being able to have that expanded roster in September. You look at your bench. As this will be kicked over towards the 1, picking it up and moving over to Ronald Woods. He will get taken down at the 6-yard line. So that's where they will start off. But it's like in September, you have that expanded roster. The manager takes a look at his bench and says, all right, do I want to test out this minor leaguer? Do I want to test out this utility guy? It gives him a chance to see what he has going into the rest of meaningful play.
Very much so. And also, for baseball, it's, for potential playoff position, who can make that impact. And in terms of, football here in college football, who's actually going to help you out going forward in the season? Like, for Compton, they haven't had the best of seasons so far in recent years, but hopefully there will be some players who can show some light and actually, improve upon, their past seasons and make that impact going forward, especially since they have a lot of young players.
13:52 left here in the fourth quarter. We've got some motion as Wells was going to take over at QB. And that is going to stop everything for a moment. So that's going to march him back half the distance to the goal. So it moves it to the 3-yard line. Here's a handoff, or excuse me, a quarterback keeper by Wells. He runs it 3 yards upfield, so he gets to the original line of scrimmage. It's going to be 2nd down and 10 yards to go, now from the 6-yard line. Here's the 2nd down and 10 to go for Wells. He goes over towards the left-hand side, trying to find a teammate. And an absolute wrestle down there as McCorker is back in, and a late flag comes flying in. 3 different flags come flying in from various directions.
And that should be a personal foul in East Los Angeles College.
White hat taking a look. Now getting a chance to talk it over with the rest of the officials. .49 to go as Wells goes over towards the right-hand side. He's going to get about 8 yards and absolutely get decked. Some miscommunication as to whether some missed field goal, or excuse me, whether some extra points were made. Either way, it's still a fairly large lead for East LA.
Yeah, I think so. East LA has been pretty good on their kick so far. I believe it was just 2 missed points so far. And I think they're both in the first half of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if not, it'd be 49-7.
Yeah, because
7 times 7 would be 49. If our math is correct, 2 extra points missed brings it down to 47-7.
And it was on the second touchdown that East Los Angeles missed the first field goal, because it was 7-0 early on, and then 13, and then Compton came back with their touchdown and extra point.
This will be Wells. He's loading up deep, looking for the far sideline in McCorker, but that's going to be about 5 yards too short. So that brings up a 3rd down and 3 to go. Everyone here in the press box trying to work as a team to make sure that the score is correct. 47-7. As Compton is trying to work their way up the field. They now have Samuel Wells at quarterback as he's coming in for Jesse Brew. And so far what we've seen from Wells, his legs can be electric. His arm, still trying to figure that out. He only has 2 completions so far, so it's not really that big of a sample size for us to say whether or not he is more of a throwing quarterback than a running quarterback. But in the times that he has run it, he has looked terrific. This is going to be a false start going against Compton.
Yeah, it looked to be a Merchant starting early on the gun there.
So 5 yards back, and it takes a 3rd down and 3 to go. Now you're looking at a 3rd down and 8. It'll be interesting to see just how many penalties were awarded this afternoon. In the first half, there were a total of 16. That has significantly increased here in the second half. This will be a pick going to East LA. Getting back on it is Jared Gonzalez. Gonzalez working down the left sideline, trying to go down the middle, works away from one tackle, and finally finds his way down to the 15-yard line. Compton coach is not happy with the interception there from Wells, but East LA with a takeaway.
And we've got a flag right around the reception was actually made, so we'll see what the call is going to be on that.
There is a Compton player down on the far side of the field. 11:33 left in this one. 48-7 is what shows on the board. It should be 47-7. You are watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. As they are going to march off the yards, and the East LA defense is going to stay on, so it's actually going to be a hold going against the offense, or excuse me, going against the defense that allows for a 1st down to Compton. And a timeout is taken right before the play clock expires. Clock continues to run, and 11:26 left to go. It's 47-7 here between East LA and Compton. East LA with the lead. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles as we take a look at a couple more scores. Riverside and San Bernardino now into the 3rd quarter. It's still a 4-point lead for RCC, just barely hanging on against the American Conference San Bernardino Valley. And San Bernardino Valley, their quarterback has quite literally been the best in the state. Through 2 games, he's got 1,100 yards passing.
Oh my.
1,100 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has had quite the first 2 weeks of the season.
How much has he thrown this week?
Yet to be decided. No live stats on that game.
That is quite the average of yards per game. Like, to have over 1,000 over the first 2 weeks, that's very impressive for any level of play.
Jared Musa over there at San Bernardino Valley, really raking in the stats to start off the year. This is going to be Wells. He still gets picked off on the far side of the field. It's going to go over to Javon Hill. Hill looking for a blocker. Ends up getting taken down at the 12. So either way, the result is the same. Wells ends up getting picked off by East LA. 11:15 left in the 4th quarter. It's 47-7. Compton with the deficit to East LA. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. A big-time play for Javon Hill, 6'3" defensive back out of Cajon High School in San Bernardino. And now Rudy Garcia gets to jog onto the field, and he's going to be joined by DeMonte Presley on the far side, in addition to Cedric Hood on this right-hand side. New running back that will be in there is Darion Turner. It'll go to Turner. Turner diving over towards his right, makes 2 guys miss. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, East LA. What a slippery run for Darion Turner. 11:07 left here in the 4th. It's 54-7. Make it 53-7. The opportunity for 54 coming up on the extra point for Juan Rangel. There goes Juan Rangel. He'll put it up, and he will allow for it to go right through. So now it's 54-7, East LA with the lead. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. Darian Turner, what a terrific run there. He goes over towards the left-hand side. 2 defenders are on him immediately. He gets away from them, runs into his own blocker, and then still powers both guys into the end zone.
Pretty much take a note out of Rams playbook. I mean, the player Rams, not the NFL team there. But taking a page out of number 30 Rams, he's already has two rushing touchdowns. Turner getting in on the action, in addition to Garcia, who had that earlier rushing touchdown.
So ball placed on the 35-yard line. East LA is going to kick it away. 11 minutes left and some change as East LA leads it 55-7. Ball all the way towards McCorker. Make it Wells. Wells is going to back up into the end zone, turn over towards his left, and get taken down. Trying for the body slam there is going to be an East LA player in Cedric Hood. And if you're East LA, you're actually thankful that Wells doesn't end up getting flipped over onto his back, because a body slam at this level, at any level, is a personal foul to Cedric Hood. And that would have been 15 yards going for Compton once again. And if you're Cedric Hood, you probably don't want to try and use that at this stage.
Yeah, you definitely don't need the penalty, and Wells definitely could go without the possible injury that would have resulted as from that penalty. It was not shaping up good. Luckily, the ref were able to call it dead and, you know, stop him with his advancement.
So will it be Wells? Or will it be Jesse Brew? It is Jesse Brew who's back in there at quarterback. He's immediately going to hand it off. That goes over towards the right-hand side, and a big-time tackle is made by Joshua Murillo. Murillo has had a couple of sacks in addition to 3 other tackles for loss today. This time, he ends up getting the tackle on a 1-yard rushing play. 54-7, East LA with the lead. Live from Weingart Stadium. East LA up over top of Compton. Power backing type of run that is given here by Cameron Johnson. Or excuse me, that's going to be Avante Ross. Handoff once again. So East LA trying to commit to the run. And the ball came out. East LA is saying that they have it. Officials are going to say it's 4th down and 1 yard to go. Officials timeout as there is another injured player on the field for or make it Compton. He'll get his way onto his feet. That's Lamar Smith. So 4th down and 1 for Compton College. They don't have another timeout that they can take. 9:53 left. It's 54-7. And rather than go for it, they're going to allow Medina to punt it away. Now, if you're the Compton coaches here, do you go for it?
I can't say that I do. I mean, with the way the Compton offense has been playing so far, you're better off at least giving Medina a chance to kick it off, gain some positive yardage with the way his kicks have been bouncing in their favor, and hopefully, you know, the special teams can actually hold off a return from East LA.
So Brandon Peterson is going to be back to receive. And it'll be Medina to kick it away. They get a couple more guys onto the field. 11 guys on the field for Compton. They were trying to sort out their numbers. Here's Medina. Medina going to run it for a second. Ends up getting that off the head of an East LA player. And that should be Compton ball. That should be Compton's football. So that kick ended up going off of an East LA player off the helmet of a Husky, and it was recovered by Compton. They're going to say that it's going to be downed at the 50-yard line by Compton. So the officials are ruling that it went off of a Compton player, not an East LA player. So they'll just say that it was downed at the 50. From the looks up here, it looked like it went off of East LA, which should have made it a live ball.
There definitely was a deflection. There was a lot of movement going on in the area of the play. Hard to say who exactly it deflected off of, but Compton certainly thought they had it.
Rudy Garcia wants to take it himself, keeps diving forward for yardage. He ends up getting 5, so he'll make it down to the 45-yard line of Compton. Handoff, given over to Turner. Turner trying to get away from a couple of Compton players, one of them being Jalen Smith. Keeps trying to muscle his way forward, does end up gaining 2.5. And it will be a 3rd down and 4 to go. Actually make it 3. So ball gets placed at the 43-yard line. They need to get up to the 40 for the 1st down. Rudy Garcia at quarterback. In the backfield, he's got Darian Turner. Over on the right-hand side is Daniel Dexter. Also joined out there by Jaden James, who has a touchdown pass. Jaden James is going to get it. He's going to get the 1st down. He's going to run into 4 different Compton players and finally get taken down, wrestled there by Slaughter, but not after a gain of 11. Huskies just trying to keep the clock moving along. We're now under 7 minutes to play in a 54-7 matchup. Garcia to throw again. Jaden James gets away from one. Finally gets body slammed. And both guys are absolutely out at the 30-yard line. So that's Jaden Smith who ends up getting the tackle there. (54-7) is our score. Unusual tackle there as he kind of spun the guy to the ground and
took himself out in the process.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Both the wide receiver and the tackler. Officials trying to get the clock straightened out. 6:23 left. The clock should be running, considering that it wasn't a 1st down. And now they're going to wind up the clock, and here goes Rudy Garcia. He's got Dexter on the right-hand side. In addition to Voss Price, he wants Dexter, has him open. Dexter caught, touchdown East LA. Daniel Dexter, 6'2", 165 freshman out of Silverado High School in Victorville. And East LA gets back on the board. That's going to make it a 60-7 ball game. A reminder that this one was a 33-7 ball game after the 1st half concluded. This was actually pretty close in the 1st half.
Yeah, Compton was making a game out of it, and then in the 2nd quarter, it started to fall apart. A lot of late injuries to Brew, injuries to McCorker, a lot of hits on their punter, and it has not proved well for Compton at all.
So 60-7 is our score. That extra point is no good. So that's the 3rd extra point that was missed today by East LA. And now the Huskies will kick it away with 6:08 left. 60-7 is our score. the East LA Huskies not only in command, but they are having a chance to expand their playbook, expand their roster, and get a sense of what they have going forward. All games here on SportsNetUSA.net, brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. We want to thank them for being a proud partner with SportsNetUSA.net over the years. If you're looking for that new or used vehicle, maybe parts and service is more of what you're maybe searching or scouring the internet for, well, Miller Toyota of Anaheim has both of those down at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. A parts and service department that is open 7 days a week, and a wide variety and selection of new and used vehicles for your benefit. Visit them online as Wells takes it up the field. Visit them online at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com or check them out in person at the corner of the 91 and Euclid. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports high school sports, community college sports, but most of all, they support education. Again, that is Miller Toyota of Anaheim. 5:59 left here in quarter number 4 between these two sides. East LA with a commanding 60-7 lead. Big time touchdown toss over to Dexter from Rudy Garcia. So Garcia has a couple of touchdown throws in this one. Now Compton will retake over with Jesse Brew. Something that Albert mentioned earlier is really key here. The fact that Compton College has a very limited roster. Only about 50 to 55 guys in total. As this goes over towards the left-hand side, gets deflected once and caught by Jesse Brew himself. The awareness by Jesse Brew. So 2nd down and 10 coming up. Our score is 60-7, but going back to what Albert was saying, very limited roster. You also have the fact that, you know, the injuries that cost them in the first half. Here's a big-time run that is going to be ended by the tackle made by Carlos Alvarez. The injuries in the first half, the fouls in the first half, the fact that both teams wanted to run up and down the field, it started to take its toll against Compton. As you said, midway part of the second quarter is where it all started to tumble down. Here's a tackle that is made by Zion Dixon. That'll be his 4th of the afternoon. And a 4th down is coming up, 4th down and 4. Will it be a punt attempt? Or will Jesse Brew stay on the field? It looks like Brew is going to stay out there. Coaching staff for Compton College still trying to decide what's up for this drive.
The Compton offense definitely has the speed to pick up those 2 yards in the form of McCorker, Wells, and Brew himself. Maybe they can pull it off here and at least get something positive out of this.
They've got an open receiver on the left slot. It's going to be Brew. Brew trying to take it himself, looking for the sticks. He gets to the sideline, and he has got that 1st down. Just as you said, you called it there, Albert. They have the speed. Jesse Brew has the legs to be able to get the 1st down himself, and the awareness by the quarterback to realize what he had to get to. And he ends up finding that 1st down. So Compton stays on the field. An East LA defense that has been pretty good this afternoon. They've given up around 200 to 220 yards of total offense to Compton, but it's been sparsed out throughout the game as this is a flip-up tackle that will be made by Carlos Alvarez. So Alvarez gets his 4th tackle of the afternoon. And after a gain of 5, it will be a 2nd down and 5 to go. Snap is given to Brew. Brew's going to take it himself. He gets rocked at the 47-yard line as he was going to the floor.
Such a hard hit on Brew, and there he is back up again. The toughness of this quarterback is so impressive. he does not let anything keep him down for long.
That tackle was made by Darian Franklin Tinsley. That may have been the hardest hit we have seen this afternoon, and you mentioned it, Brew got right back up. Jesse Brew looking for the handoff, and it will be Tinsley who makes the tackle again. So this after a gain of 2. Clock just continues to wind down here as we're under 3 minutes to play between Compton and East LA. East LA is going to get a victory as they lead it 60-7. So the Huskies are going to move up to 2-1, winning record in this early portion of the season, as that is going to be a 3-yard gain on a rush once again by this Compton offense. So the ball is placed at the 42.5-yard line. Jesse Brew back out there. Possibly one of the toughest quarterbacks I have seen at the community college level. Still out there for Compton College as he turns. He decides he wants to gain the yardage himself, goes upfield and gets taken down again.
Another big hit, another first down from Brew.
That's going to be a flag coming up. And these officials are going to have to get this game under wraps here, as that was Javante Van Buren who got the tackle. A little bit high, so we may see that as an unnecessary roughness penalty. Personal foul going against the offense for Compton. So it's a retaliation thing after the play was over. So the ball goes all the way back to the 50. It's now going to be a 3rd down and about 13 yards to go. They need to get, actually no, it's going to be a 1st down from the 50-yard line. So they need to get to the 40 for the first. Clock under 1 minute and 15, and that's going to stop the clock there as it's a false start going against the offense. Lamar Smith ended up checking out of the offensive line just a shade too early. One minute, 4 seconds as the clock is going to wind down here on a victory for East LA. The East LA Huskies. See this go over to McCorker. McCorker wants to throw it. It's a trick play. He puts it into the air, and that's going to go and land well wide of his intended target. .1 seconds left to go in this one. In a game that East LA controlled for most of the way. We'll say about 7 minutes left to go in the first quarter. From then on, it was all East LA. Clock is stopped at 48.1. It's going to be McCorker who takes the snap. He'll hand it off, and it's now a 3rd down and 8 to go. Coming up next for East LA, they will take on Mount San Antonio College. Mount Sac next Saturday at 6 p.m. That'll be carried live here on Sportsnet, USA.net. $60-7 is our score. And that's going to end up doing it, as Compton isn't going to run another play, and they will let the clock run out here East LA with a commanding 60-7 victory over top of Compton College. And Albert, when you take a look at this one, it was thoroughly controlled by East LA, as we said, from about the 7-minute mark left in the first quarter all the way until the final whistle blew. When you look at this East LA team, however, it wasn't something where you look at them and you say, okay, this was the cleanest game they've ever played. They have some things that they have to work on, specifically on the defensive side of the football before Mount Sac.
Very much so. I mean, like, I would say this is a much better played game than from 2 weeks ago versus Cypress, in which they took the loss. Much better offensive showing, much better showing from the defense as well. They clearly had a good opponent to finally clean some things up in terms of their offensive play, because Compton clearly does not compare to the Huskies in any shape or form. It's almost like they don't even belong on the same field.
And when you look at Compton, it's unfortunate considering the glory that they once had. Again, this is a team that just 10 years ago was continually fighting for playoff spots in the National Conference. Now they're in the American, trying to get their first win since 2017. Unfortunately for Compton, if you're a Compton fan watching, it didn't end up happening tonight. East LA takes a very commanding 60-7 win. But if you're an East LA Husky fan, you're quite happy because you saw your offense put up 60 points on a night where they didn't look at their finest, but yet all of a sudden you would see these moments of brilliance from the offense. You would see that 92-yard rush for a touchdown from Brian Jones. You see Rudy Garcia come in and throw 2 quick touchdown passes. You see Wesley Blazek be a surgical master up the field. But when you look at this East LA team, yes, they score 60, but again, when you look at tune-ups, when you look at things that can be improved upon, East LA can fine-tune that offense before they go to Mount Sac.
Oh, very easily. And like with the amount of offense that they showed today, both in yardage, rushing, and even the passing game, the ball was thrown around a lot, shared amongst everyone on the offense. You have 2 touchdowns from number 30, Roms. You had 1 touchdown from Jones, 1 touchdown from Watkins, Garcia with his own rushing touchdown, Turner with a rushing touchdown, and Dexter with a touchdown pass. Like, that is sharing the ball as much as I've seen any other team to do so. Compton, they definitely have the heart. They have the aggressiveness. There's definitely talent on that team that you can expect to see going forward. I mean, like the aggressiveness of Brew, he definitely has the speed in his legs. He definitely has a good arm and the strength to get it to where he needs it to go. Wells, as well as McCorker, those are going to be key offensive components to the Compton offense going forward. Hopefully, the offensive line can help, develop a little bit more, gain some key blocks so that those, very critical wide receivers can actually get open for Brew to take advantage of.
So that's going to do it for our coverage here tonight. A 60-7 final score. East LA goes away with the victory over top of Compton. Compton now goes to 0-3. East LA is going to move up to 2-1. They've got a winning record right now, but they're going to take on Mount Sac next Saturday at 6 p.m. That will be carried live here on SportsNetUSA.net. For Albert Robles, I'm Ryan Osborn, thanking you once again for joining us. Our final 60-7 East LA with the victory over top of Compton. You have been watching and listening to East LA College Football here on Sportsnet.